Welcome to Belmont Stakes Day in the Big Apple as we celebrate the sport with 8 Grade 1s on a star-studded field highlighted by the Test of the Champion. Can Rich Strike reproduce his electric stretch run that led to the second biggest upset in Derby history? Richie returns after passing on the Preakness. We the People will be the one that everyone has to catch in the Belmont. Can his front-running style carry him the mile-and-a-half distance? 2-year-old champion filly Echo Zulu comes off the first defeat of her career in the Kentucky Oaks. She tries to get back on top of the division with a win in the Grade 1 Acorn. And after being talked about as a potential leader on the Derby trail before he was sidelined, Jack Christopher returned to show he's as sharp as ever. The Woody Stevens his next stop to a possible date in the Travers this summer. Good to have you with us on America's Day at the Races on a very special day. Third and final leg of the Triple Crown ahead on this Saturday afternoon. Our program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. A gorgeous Belmont day here in Elmont, New York. Happy to have you with us. And so much excitement on this Saturday program, not just the Test of the Champion and getting to see if Rich Strike can do it again in the Belmont Stakes, but champion after champion returning on this card. In fact, we have one race coming up with a couple of champions who are going to go head-to-head. And that will be Latruska and Malathot squaring off. And there's a couple others that warrant consideration in that Ogden Phipps as well. Not one, not two, not three, count them, 8 Grade 1s on one of the great days of racing anywhere in our sport. We're going to bring you 3 of those Grade 1s today. The Acorn, Just a Game, and the Woody Stevens. We'll also have the best marathoner in the country in that Grade 2 Brooklyn with Lone Rock with me, champion jockey Richard Migliori. Very special day here in New York, and Rich Strike, everyone wants to know, can he do it again?
Yeah, we got the Kentucky Derby winner in the house. He's been training here at Belmont. High energy individual, looks great. Was it a fluke? Was it Churchill Downs, or is he just a horse getting good at the right time?
It is our ABR race of the week. These are the current odds, and still a little interesting that We the People was the morning line favorite. He is the lone speed from the rail. He's a number at 5-1 on the board. Mo Donegal's the 5-2 favorite. Let's start with the Peter Pan winner. What did he show you in that Peter Pan?
Well, he's just got a beautiful, efficient stride. He's a horse that goes fast easily. He's got a high cruising speed, and he looks like he's been enjoying his time here at Belmont Park. And I just think from the rail, and as much of a pace advantage as he has, he should just be sailing along 2 or 3 in front, enjoying Belmont Park.
Everyone knows he's the horse who's going to be loose on the lead, too. So do they have to try and be a little bit sharper early, or you can't take him out of their game?
Well, I don't think you can change a horse's style, but you also shouldn't take anything away that comes easier. We had a crazy fast pace in the Kentucky Derby, a sub-22 quarter going 1.25 miles to start the race. So, of course, you're going to be further back. But if they go a quarter in 24 and change, 25, allow your horse to be in the rhythm that puts him wherever he's going to be in proximity to that pace.
As good as Rich Strike performed at Churchill Downs, working here in New York, he's looked pretty sharp as well, as we see the tail of the tape.
Oh, he's looked terrific. I mean, I really love what I see. He's kind of won me over. I thought the Derby might have been a complete fluke. I don't think that so much anymore. I just think he's a horse that's getting better and better.
Shocked everyone in that Kentucky Derby. Biggest price on the board, the second biggest upset in Kentucky Derby history. Rich Strike, can he do it again? Let's go to Acacia Clement for more.
And I'm standing in front of Rich Strike's stall right now. He may be a very energetic horse, but he's having a little cat nap right now. And this is as close as I'm going to get because they said he's a little playful in the stall, and I need all my limbs today for Belmont Stakes Day. But Rich Strike has been carrying terrific weight. He's handled himself so well, training over the main track in his gallops, preparing for this Belmont Stakes, and love that he's had the opportunity to get acclimated with this track. In just a little bit, I'll have a chance to catch up with some of the team, his groom, Jerry Dixon Jr., who has such a strong relationship with Rich Strike, who seems he can be a little bit of a tricky horse to handle. His trainer, Eric Reed, has been enjoying the ride, and his regular rider, Sonny Leon, who many people may have never heard of before his incredible score in the Kentucky Derby at 80-1. He'll have his first mount on the main track at Belmont in the first race today, but looking forward to having a chance to see, as I asked the other day, does the underdog become the top dog as he looks to prove that that Kentucky Derby was no fluke, and Rich Strike is coming into this Belmont Stakes in fine form, Greg?
That look just said it all right there from Sonny Leon. To be on that stage from a rider who's not accustomed to being in big races and produce the ride that he did, just sensational.
He made every perfect move at every right moment. He makes one mistake, does one thing different. Epicenter's your Derby winner.
Not going to get to know this track very well. He was on the turf yesterday in one race. He went around the clubhouse turn. He saw that just vast backstretch here at Belmont, and the only thing he could say was, wow, this place is big. We're going to see him in his only dirt mount of the day before Rich Strike lines up at the Belmont Stakes in a 6-furlong sprint coming up.
Well, it'll give him a good idea of how close to the turn you are at the 6-furlong marker. So basically, he's going to be getting into the turn at the 5-furlong marker. He knows he's going to learn you can't move there. You have to wait.
Going into that Derby, as we see him, he's going to ride Vincent here, a long shot in this opener. It was a bit of a free roll. I know they were confident in the horse, but nobody really knew about him. He was flying under the radar. Is this going to be a tougher test, because just from a pressure standpoint? Because now everyone knows about it.
You know, I mean, it is more of a pressure situation because there is a little bit more expectation. They were on a free roll last time. But you know what? I've watched this guy ride since the Derby. I paid attention to him riding at Belterra. He just rides good races day in, day out. It's just he has chosen to ply his trade at a smaller circuit. I think Sonny Leon can go anywhere he wants and do well.
You can, of course, play all the action today, our entire card, all those grade ones and the Belmont Stakes, and get a $25 free play in the Belmont by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Belmont 25, that code to use at sign up. Today's race is brought to you by Claiborne Farm. We're going to bring you races 1 through 6. Again, 3 grade ones. The Acorn, Just a Game, Woody Stevens. We'll see Lone Rock, the standout leader of that marathon division in the grade 2 Brooklyn. We're fast and firm here in New York, and we'll have action from Churchill Downs coming up as well. Jack Christopher would have been likely the favorite going into that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He got injured. He came back looking just tremendous in his return race in the Pat Day Mile.
I was very impressed with the Pat Day Mile. It's a tough distance to return at, a 1-mile distance. It's basically an elongated sprint. He got bounced around a bit at the break. I thought he overcame some adversity, and he finished very resolutely. In my opinion, this is the best 3-year-old on the dirt in Chad Brown's barn.
That means better than the Preakness winner early voting, better than Zandon. That's high praise. Let's get our Belmont Stakes Day card underway. We go upstairs to track announcer John Imbrial.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as Sergeant First Class Emily McAleese-Juergens sings God Bless America, accompanied by the West Point Honor Guard.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Bravo, well done, what a start. Sergeant First Class Emily McAleese-Juergens with God Bless America as you take a look at Sonny Leon, Kentucky Derby winning rider that really no one in this country knew about. Well, they certainly do now. Rich Strike back for the Belmont Stakes. We're going to see Sonny Leon with his only dirt mount prior to the Belmont coming up in the opener when we return.
Following C, pouring it on here in the stretch. Impressive to win the Grade 2 Vosburg. Following C, Smile Happy has kicked it into high gear. And Smile Happy with a powerful performance wins by 2.5.
Let such champions run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We are back on America's Day at the Races on FS2. Great to be with you on Belmont Stakes Day. Our program brought to you by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. That buzz is back in the air here in Elmont, New York at Big Sandy. For the first time since 2019 due to COVID, we had no crowd in 2020. It was capped at about 10,000, mainly just trainers, owners, friends of the owners. Last year, we have well over, capping it obviously at 50,000 this year, but great to see people back on the track. Here's the Derby winning rider, Sonny Leon, his warm-up mount.
Yeah, good for him to get a mount early, kind of get in a little bit of a routine, get in the room, get yourself situated, pay attention to how the races are running. Has the rail, and a horse just broke his maiden.
Yeah, Vincent, big price from that inside. Quick flash off the claimed off of a very good trainer, Rob Atras.
Yeah, with the leading rider, Dylan Davis aboard. Good effort last time. We'll have to back that up.
23-1, a horse who's just paired up. Similar numbers could move forward for Juan Vasquez.
Showed improved speed, I thought, last time and should be involved early.
7-1 next, Orlando Rice with Safalo's Mission. Here's Jose Lezcano.
Best race of his life last time. Maybe he's just a horse, kind of like Rich Strike. Figured the game out, getting better right now.
Big Castle, biggest price on the board. This son of Painter.
Yeah, a horse that's been claimed in subsequent starts, but that was for 16. This is quite a bit tougher.
And the main contenders here to the outside, the 6, 7, and 8. We start with Brad Cox's 3-year-old by Central Banker, Tap in the Bank.
Get Hall of Famer Johnny Velasquez, who's been riding in good form. This horse returned off a layoff with a nice effort.
6-5 favorite, ran a big number against, unfortunately, a horse that ran an even bigger number for Chad Brown, Key Point, who won that race. This is Win for Gold.
Yeah, he took a step forward in the second start, was well beaten, but a good second and an improved figure. Certainly a main contender.
Soaks a Rapoli stable. He's, of course, part owner of a couple of horses that are going to try and win the Belmont later today. And here's Unique Unions for Rick Schosberg. Just missed against a really good horse named Kazmike last start.
I like this horse. He has that race off the layoff, shake the ring rust off, be a little bit fitter, well posted outside with a very strong finishing rider in Manny Franco.
Play against your friends, fellow fans, with a special $10,000 Belmont Stakes Day Showdown. Free to enter handicapping contest on the Belmont Stakes Day card. Prize pool this time of $10,000. Get signed up and started now at NYRA.com. So let's look at the current favorite in here. 4-year-old son of Golden Sense. There he is. Kendrick Carmouche will be aboard. Debuted with a win. First time out. That was at Aqueduct. And this is that performance that was going 6 furlongs. 68 buyer in the debut. Beating Kazmike.
Yeah, beat Kazmike this day. Kind of interesting, though, Greg. He didn't take any money on debut, and he won like a good thing. So maybe it wasn't a surprise to some people, but usually horses that are well met take some kind of meaningful play at the window.
Especially from the Rudy Rodriguez barn.
Absolutely. So was he a surprise to the connections? Maybe he hadn't worked that well previous to that, but certainly his recent works are eye-catching. 59-2, best of 18 on June 4th.
And even though he got beat, and we said he faced a monster in that next start, figure-wise, he took a decent move forward that seems like even if he could just repeat what he did last time, everyone else is going to have to try and catch up to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly the fastest figure, but I think there are horses that could take a step forward, particularly this one right here.
This horse makes a great appearance.
Nice impression. Johnny Velasquez has been riding so well. Yesterday, a couple of winners that I thought he contributed big efforts to get them home. This horse took pressure last time. Fast fractions going 6.5. I just think he could take a step forward off of that effort, and he's cutting back a 1/16 of a mile in distance.
You can't look better than he does on the racetrack. Obviously, Brad Cox dangerous with everything he sends out and really turned the corner off that difficult debut. He showed a little bit of talent in that first start, but a big move forward in that 3-year-old debut.
Yeah, he was definitely well meant that day. Now, he was beating Sinful Dancer, who seems to find excuses, finds ways to not get there, right? So maybe that's why he's not getting as much respect as I thought he might, because he ran a big figure last time, too.
Yeah, Sinful Dancer, we just saw run earlier in the week, a horse who was so impressive in a third-place finish to eventual Grade 1 winner American Revolution, and he has come back to disappoint 3 times after that. As we take a look at the 8, another one who makes a nice appearance. Unique Unions. I don't want to be John Imbrial in this race. Tough one to get out. For Rick Schosberg, Manny Franco rides. Manny Franco's been riding terrific. He'll be on Skippy Longstocking, of course, in the Belmont Stakes.
This is a horse with natural speed, but the outside post gives Manny Franco luxuries. He's not forced into the race. I think he'll be stalking from the outside, and with that race under his belt in April in the New York Stallion Stakes, I think he's going to be very tough to beat.
Well, a young man who's going to get his first opportunity in a Triple Crown event. Dylan Davis going to be on Quick Flash. Do you remember your first Triple Crown ride?
Yeah, actually the Kentucky Derby on Eternal Prince, and everything went wrong.
It's got to be an incredible moment. Your heart's probably pounding.
Well, you think about the Derbies, usually a 20-horse field. At least nowadays, it's always a 20-horse field. Only 20 guys get to compete in it every year. So if you're one of those 20, right there, that's a privilege.
Well, this man has earned it. He has taken huge strides. We talk about it a lot on this program. Suffered an injury, and talk about using that time wisely. He has become just a different rider. He's taken his game to the next level.
Sometimes just being a little bit removed from the game, you look at things and you go, you know what, when I get back, I want to do something different. I want to do it this way instead of that way. You learn. You're not so immersed in what you're doing that you can't see the forest through the trees.
And meanwhile, back to Sonny Leon. He's on the long shot. Vincent, the one from the rail. It's a 6-furlong sprint. The Belmont, of course, it's 1.5 miles. It's 2 turns. Totally different race. Can he learn anything from his ride here?
Yes, I think he can. I think that he'll see how close you are to the turn when you're 6 furlongs from home, and much different than a mile racetrack where you might start leaning forward going into the far turn. You can't do that at Belmont. It's about 1/4 mile too soon. Now, Sonny Leon is on a 20-1 shot here. He's like, hold my beer. I won the Derby on an 80-1 shot.
This is nothing for him. I need a bigger price, please. Well, he's not going to get it in the Belmont because word is out on Rich Strike. We're never going to see that price on him again. And, even back to the Belmont, even if Rich Strike were not to win today, and we know he's not going to get that crazy hot pace that he got in the Kentucky Derby, this race may not shape up with just one horse who projects to go to the lead. That's not to say if he doesn't win today, he could be very effective in some other races down the line where there's a more honest setup for him.
I think what we need to see is just an effort. He doesn't have to win, because I do think that he's at a little bit of a disadvantage from a pace standpoint with his closing style. But he needs to show up and run a credible race.
First and only mount before the Belmont Stakes for Sonny Leon. What a whirlwind this must have been for him since that shocking upset in Kentucky. No, we'll hear from him in a little bit. Maybe he'll answer this question, but this is his only mount. So how do you spend? Are you going to get in your head too much? What do you do now from the hours away that we have to the Belmont if you're Sonny Leon?
Well, I think you want to watch the races. You want to pay attention to how the track is playing. Is it better towards the inside? Is it better towards the outside? Is there no bias at all? And probably sneak in a nap somewhere. I mean, that's what fighters do before a big fight. Hockey players, you get a little nap in somewhere. It's a double-edged sword. It's good to be in there. It's good to be immersed in it, but it is a long wait. So you've got to kind of use your time wisely and not overthink it then.
Might be tough, too, to try and settle yourself for a nap with the excitement and the pressure that he's feeling coming up.
Well, for people that don't know, in the jockey's room, there's a lounge. There's a pool table, a ping pong table. There's couches. You watch TV. In the back, there's a TV room. There's a sleeping room, so you have bunks that you can take a nap. I used to like to go into the trunk room where you store all the tack trunks and read or study my races for later on that afternoon. So, again, you're a professional. You've got to learn to manage your time well and not overthink it and get yourself too worked up about it.
Sonny Leon, the Kentucky Derby winning rider. He'll be back on Rich Strike in the Belmont Stakes. There he is, loading up on his only mount of the afternoon before the Belmont Stakes on Vincent here, who's 22-1, coming off a state-bred maiden claiming win. This is a big jump up in class for this 4-year-old, but just good to get a mount in, get those nerves out a little bit, and get a go over this main surface. Horse to beat throughout in the wagering has been the 7, Win for Gold. Rudy Rodriguez, Kendrick Carmouche, but we talked about both the 6 and 8 as well, who both made very nice appearances.
Yeah, I kind of like the outside flow with the 8 unique unions. Also add in the factor that this horse is getting Lasix for the first time in his life, and sometimes that moves the horse up.
We kick off our Belmont Stakes Day card. Let's go upstairs to John Imbrial for the call.
And they're off. There's Quick Flash, who is quickest of all from the gate and is out for the lead. Tapping the bank, now moves right alongside. Unique Unions is on the outside in third. Vincent down at the rail running in fourth. On the outside is a Win for Gold. In between horses is My Last Mission. At the back of the pack, Big Castle and Sapphilo's Mission. It's Quick Flash and Tapping the Bank. The two of them are heads apart through a quarter in 23 seconds. Unique Unions sits just off of them in third. The favorite Win for Gold is on the extreme outside in fourth, 2 lengths from the lead. Farther back, Vincent and My Last Mission. Then Big Castle and Sapphilo's Mission. Quick Flash, Tapping the Bank, Unique Unions. The 3 of them arrive at the top of the stretch together. The half was run in 45 and 3/5 seconds. And it is Tapping the Bank in between horses. Unique Unions on the outside. Quick Flash continues to battle down towards the rail. And they're inside the 8th pole. 3 of them across the track. It's Quick Flash, Tapping the Bank, Unique Unions. They come on for the finish in the opener. It's Quick Flash and Tapping the Bank. And it is Quick Flash to win the first race on Belmont Stakes Day at odds of 14-1.
Dylan Davis, mentioned earlier, is going to have his first ever mount in a Triple Crown race later today on Golden Glider. How about an upset to begin the day at 14-1?
And you get your leading rider, Dylan Davis, who's been riding in tremendous form at 14-1. Quick Flash, a horse that has sported 1 win, 8 seconds so far in his career. Dylan finished so strong on this horse, and this is one of the things he improved on coming back from injury, how strong physically he finishes on a horse. Looked like he was going to be third turning for home.
That stretch run reminded me of the Kentucky Derby from a year ago when Mandaloon and the others just could not get by Medina Spirit. Are we seeing a track where it's tough to get by? We're one race in.
Yeah, we can't make a definitive assessment yet, but it's certainly leading you in that direction. Sometimes the inside portion of the track becomes like a conveyor belt. Quick Flash was passed by 2 horses, and he fought back to get the victory.
Big price here, Natalia Lynch off the claim. Not easy to move him up off trainer Rob Atras. And the Lynch barn does just that. A horse 1 for 22 coming in. able to hold off some stout competition at 14-1 with a man who is leading the way right now at this meet and coming off the first ever riding title of his career at the Aqueduct Winter Meet, 27-year-old Dylan Davis. Meanwhile, there is Kentucky Derby winning rider Sonny Leon. Gets that one race under his belt. We're going to hear from him momentarily coming up. We're going to take a short time out. We'll be back. Also part of Team Rich Strike, the Kentucky Derby winner. Fourth-generation horseman, Jerry Dixon Jr. They say Richie, he's just calmer when Jerry Dixon's around. We'll have more from him when we return as well. Stay with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races.
Reach the starting gate. It's post time. Home front, the favorite comes forward. And they're into the stretch. Cold front put to the test. Old Cash on the outside trying to go with him, but Cold front kicks away. Cold front 2.5. Cold front does it again, wiring the field in the Amsterdam.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Perfectly timed. Idol gets up under Joel Rosario to win the big gap. It's known agenda for St. Elias Stable.
Race and the race, scintillating performance in the TVG Del Mar debutant.
And Clariere will win the cotillion.
Down to the wire. Who's going to win it? It's Mala by a neck.
Curling, the classic sire.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program because New York Reds start with an advantage. New York Reds run for serious green at Belmont and Saratoga. New York bred maidens run for up to $75,000 and allowance horses for up to $85,000. And serious New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race in open company. So get back with the program. Seriously.
We're back at America's Day at the Races. Thanks for being with us on our Belmont Stakes Day coverage here from Elmont, New York. Brought to you in part where you can play it all at Naira Bets. Download the app or go to nairabets.com. Belmont 25, that code to use for new members at sign up. Quick flash, and the meet's leading rider, Dylan Davis, kicks off our card at 14-1.
Gave up the lead, turning for home. Was passed by two horses. You've got Tap in the Bank on the far outside, Unique Unions, and he battles back along the inside. A horse that has shown a propensity to want to finish second gets it done. So now he has 2 wins, 8 seconds. Did the inside help? Was it the strong Dylan Davis ride? Questions.
And by the way, Sonny Leon, he finishes in 6th in his lone mount before the Belmont Stakes. Standing by with our Kentucky Derby winning rider. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
It's always good to get a little experience in on this main track. Sonny, aboard Vincent, we saw you out there. Obviously, this is half the distance that the mile-and-a-half Belmont will be. But what did you learn riding this main track?
Well, it's a little deeper than the normal track, so the tunnel is a little wide than the normal track too. It's quite different than whatever tracks out New York, you know. So, but I think we can be fine. We reached the track because, you know, he been working in morning, galloping in morning every single day, last 10 days in Belmont. So yesterday morning, I watching him jogging mile and a half. He did it perfect. I think this track is going to be fine for him because he comes from behind.
He looked as though he's getting over it really, really well. What do you change, though, given the difference in the kind of circumference of this track in your ride from the Derby to this Belmont Stakes?
Well, remember something, in El Kentucky Derby we got 19 horses. Now we got only 7 horses, and on field the 8 horses we reached strike included. So I think he wanna break more chart today because everybody try to go slow fraction, and he don't wanna be like he did in Kentucky. 15, 18 lane behind the field. No, that's not gonna happen today.
Sonny, we don't see you riding Rich Strike until about 7.5 hours from now. What do you do from this race till now?
Wow. I try to relax a little bit, and try to take a long shower. I had a couple interviews in between races. That's it. And have fun. Have fun this beautiful day and wait for the big race.
Sonny, you're taking this all in stride, and your confidence is tangible. Best of luck later.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Sonny Leon, I don't think we're going to see any problems out there with Rich Strike later based upon that interview, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. So happy for him. And you see all that dirt caked on his silks and his goggles. It's likely what we're going to see after Rich Strike's ride as well, as far back as he comes from.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Going 1.5 miles because the pace is more moderated, they don't throw the dirt back as hard. Dirt comes back so much harder in sprint races because the horses are really kicking it back at you because they're digging in so hard. When you're going slower, it almost comes back a little bit softer.
Sounds like he has the right attitude leading up for a big day like this. He is not overwhelmed in any way by the moment.
I think he's got the right attitude. Stay calm, stay loose. He's already got the Kentucky Derby. He went from being a very good rider, winning over 200 races last year, but at a smaller circuit that didn't get much notoriety, to being pretty much a household name.
Yeah, overnight.
Yeah.
That's what it can do, winning the Run for the Roses for you. Race 2 starts the early pick 4. It's a 1-turn mile and an entry-level allowance race. The entry in here, Power Agenda. Big things were thought of this horse early on for Todd Pletcher, but it's this other half of the entry, Bright Future, who ran a lights-out effort last start, probably why this entry has taken so much money. Back to the Belmont Stakes, presented by Naira Betts, and we have not just Rich Strike, 3 horses total returning from that Kentucky Derby, including Mo Donegal, Wood Memorial winner, and Barber Road. His trainer, of course, John Ortiz, grew up on the backstretch here, basically, in Elmont.
In the shadow of Belmont Park, it's a homecoming of sorts for him. And listen, Sonny Leon with Rich Strike had to deal with post 20, and look at him angle straight down to the rail. Now, Irad Ortiz on Mo Donegal had the rail, didn't break particularly sharp, and I thought maybe compromised his trip a little bit. And Barber Road, he wound up having to rally very wide, particularly with Mo Donegal forcing him out when they turned for home. But they all got an extremely fast pace to close into. And, it benefited horses that were far out of it. Now you see Rich Strike got to cut the corner here. Now he's going to have to negotiate traffic. Think driving on the Belt Parkway late for an appointment. Right?
And this move around Messier, too, shows his athleticism.
Man, he shifted out quickly, almost like a ballet dancer, came around Messier and then ducked back to the inside, where Mo Donegal and Barber Road were out towards the middle of the track, and they finished well, but not nearly as fast as Rich Strike.
And into the history books as the second biggest upset in Kentucky Derby history, the afterthought, a horse who almost didn't get into the race, if not for that late last-minute scratch of Ethereal Road, and then winds up winning the race at 80-1. Well, meanwhile, we're going to hear more on his team and the calming influence on Rich Strike. Let's go to Acacia Clement.
I've been looking forward to this interview all day, Greg, here with the regular groom of Rich Strike, Jerry Dixon Jr. And the groom that works with the horse deserves so much credit because it's such a big piece of the team. Jerry, first of all, your horse looks sensational. Tell me about your relationship with Rich Strike.
The relationship me and Rich Strike have is very, very special. We're more like big brother, little brother. I see him as my little brother. The horse is special. We made history together, and I'm just proud and glad to be here in this moment right now.
I saw a video of you right after the Kentucky Derby and your emotions. What is that feeling like?
The feeling really has not went away, honestly. I still get the butterflies. I'm kind of a little jittery right now, but I know closer to race time, I get to spend more time with my boy. So we're ready. He's ready.
There's a lot of people around his stall right now looking to get a glimpse at the Kentucky Derby winner, but you seem to be able to kind of keep him a little bit more settled. He's a high-energy horse.
Yes. the key is if you stay calm, the horse stays calm. So, you know, you can't be worried about everybody that's around you. You just got to stay locked in and focus on the job and the task at hand.
Your first time at Belmont Park, you said you feel the history here.
Yes, this place is huge. I walked through the grandstand, I seen all the trophies. I was like, wow, this place is neat. I just want to repeat history and watch my horse run the best race he can, honestly.
Well, we'll all be rooting for him. Jerry, thank you so much. Good luck to you and the whole team.
Thank you.
Jerry Dixon Jr., Greg, these guys and gals who work with horses on the backside day in and day out, such a huge part of the team and the success.
He's a big part of that success. The horse, they say he's just calmer when Jerry Dixon is around. And he grew up around horses his entire life. As a kid, he said he didn't even like being around them. He didn't like the smell. That changed a lot later. Now he absolutely loves it.
Such a unique, special bond that all these men and women share with these horses. They work with them every day, 7 days a week, getting in the barn 4:30 in the morning. And it is such an intimate, special relationship. And horses are so smart. You know, a lot of people that don't get to spend a lot of time around them don't understand how instinctual they are and how they feed off your energy, just as he's saying. You stay calm, they stay calm.
Big part of that team, Jerry Dixon Jr. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, we're going to look back 45 years ago and one of the greats, Seattle Slew, and how he capped off an undefeated Triple Crown in the Belmont Stakes. Stay with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2.
Whether it's Division I or Grade I, top athletes have certain traits in common. Speed, strength, class, versatility, and most of all, willpower. Claiborne Farm Stallion, War of Will, was a Grade I winner on both dirt and turf. Now, his first foals are taking the field.
Great to have you with us on a very special afternoon. 8 Grade Ones on this Belmont Stakes Day here at Belmont Park in the big one to come with Rich Strike. Can he reproduce that Kentucky Derby performance? We will find out in a little bit. 45 years ago, Seattle Slew came to Belmont with a chance to become the 10th Triple Crown winner in history and the first to try and do it undefeated. Richard Migliori caught up with his exercise rider at the time, Mike Kennedy, to remember the genius of his trainer, Billy Turner, and the brilliance of Slew.
45 years ago, Seattle Slew galloped into the history books. Trainer Billy Turner, who passed away earlier this year, and exercise rider Mike Kennedy prepared the colt for his date with destiny through a unique partnership.
And Billy had a personality to keep people loose anyway. You know, he'd find a joke to say, or he'd laugh. He'd have something funny to say. He was just a great guy. But the kind of a horseman he was, he'd come in the morning, and he'd go to each stall, and he'd bring the horse up to the front, and he slapped him on the neck. Hey, bud, you know, and he talked to him. And then you go to the next one, and he checked the feed pit and see how they ate up the night before. And then later on, I might say, Billy, you want to get so-and-so? No, Mike, we give him a day off today. That was the horse he knew that it wasn't quite right. The first time we decided to breeze Slew, we put him with an older filly, and who had won allowance races, just to get him started. But when we broke off into 3/8 pole, he just took off. He had his mouth wide open. I couldn't get a pull out of him. You could have thrown a baby in there, you know, wide open. I had to get to the 5/8 pole before I could pull him up. And his legs going everywhere. He didn't know where he was going. And this is how good a horseman Billy is. When he saw that, he said to me, Jesus, Mike, he said, we got something special here, he said. We never put him with another horse again. He never breezed with another horse.
Seattle Slew in front by 8 lengths. Seattle Slew going easily.
After being crowned 2-year-old champion, Seattle Slew returned as a sophomore to collect Grade 1 victories in the Flamingo Stakes, the Wood Memorial, and the first 2 jewels of the Triple Crown.
It's going to be Seattle Slew, and he's going along easily. Coming on to the finish. Seattle Slew in front by 2 lengths.
Still undefeated as the Belmont Stakes approached, Seattle Slew's team suddenly faced an unexpected obstacle.
I was a mutual clerk in the afternoon. And when we came back from Pimlico after the Preakness, there was a strike on. The mutual clerks were on strike. So they wouldn't let me pass the picket line. So this went on for a few days, and they had trouble with Slew because he was running off with everybody. Nobody could hold him. And they figured they weren't going to win a Belmont like that. So Mickey Taylor called Billy and said, I don't care how you do it. You got to get Kennedy in here and get on this horse, or we're not going to win the Belmont. So I ended up going to Sally Bailey's house, whose house backed up to the training track. And I came through her house, and she had a gate on the backyard. I went through the gate, and Billy was waiting for me there, and I got in the trunk of his car so nobody would see me.
With all the pieces now in place, Seattle Slew and his team were ready to face 8 rivals in the test of the champion before an on-track crowd of more than 70,000.
And they're off. For the lead on the inside now, Seattle Slew goes for the lead.
Nobody questioned would he get the 1.5 miles around the barn, because I think Billy was so convinced that he would get it anyway, you know. He had faith in the horse, and he just knew his horse.
And it's still Seattle Slew, and he's opened it out to 4.5. Then Run Dusty Run and San Hedron.
With champion 3-year-old and Horse of the Year honors secured, Seattle Slew suffered his first career defeat in the Swap Stakes at Hollywood Park. A disagreement occurred between Turner and Seattle Slew's owners, which resulted in the horse being transferred to trainer Doug Peterson. Following his 4-year-old campaign, he was named champion older horse, but lost the Horse of the Year balloting to 1978 Triple Crown winner Affirmed, who he defeated in the Marlboro Cup. Seattle Slew retired with 14 wins from 17 races. He entered the Hall of Fame in 1981 and enjoyed a long career as one of the sport's premier stallions, living to the venerable age of 28. His passing was 25 years to the day of his Kentucky Derby win, which kicked off a magical Triple Crown run that put him and Billy Turner in the history books.
Well, nice job on that story, Mig. And this young man right here, my partner, picked a pretty good time to debut at Belmont. Your first trip here was seeing him in that Belmont Stakes. You'd go on to win over 1,300 races here.
Yeah, I had been to Aqueduct many times with my father as a kid. We lived closer to Aqueduct. That was the first time ever at Belmont Park to see a Triple Crown winner, where our set is about 30 yards behind us. That's where we were seated, right where Jean Cruguet stood up to wave his riding crop and celebrate winning the Triple Crown. And Mike Kennedy, incredible human being. What a great interview. So many great memories that brought back for me. Him getting smuggled in. He was a mutual clerk. He didn't cross a picket line, though. He went to gallop a horse. He didn't go to work at the mutual, so he supported his union and his brotherhood.
Some big names, including Seattle Slew. This date in Belmont Stakes history. See Creator there as well. That's a horse that Bobby Flay had bought into. He bought into another one this year. Could history repeat itself?
We the people.
He's going to be leading the way in the Belmont Stakes. Todd Pletcher, he's won it 3 times before. Going to get number 4 with the Wood Memorial winner, Mo Donegal, and his filly, who's going to love the extra ground he believes in Nest. We'll be back.
Speightstown. Munning. Echo Town.
It's Echo Town for Joe Talamo, and Echo Town raced away. And Echo Town is drawing away in the stretch. Echo Town wins the Allen Jerkin Stakes.
A sire line so prolific, it repeats itself. Echo Town.
We take pride in what we do.
I'm an assistant trainer. Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
I love what I do.
We are New York Racing.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
Audible let loose on the outside to take the lead. Audible by 3. Audible, no doubt about it. Audible on the inside, no confrontation at all. It's Audible to win the Holy Bull with style.
Audible on the outside races to the lead. Audible wins by 2.5.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back here in Elmont, New York, on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, Belmont Stakes Day. Our program brought to you in part by one of the best sprinters to ever do it. Run Happy never lost in his career while sprinting. Now stands at a legendary stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm. Race 2 started the early pick forward to 1-turn mile, first level allowance race, and the entry at 4 to 5. Half of that entry, they're both outside the extreme outside posts. Power Agenda won his debut at Saratoga, and then Todd Pletcher put him in the Grade 1 Hopeful. That didn't go well. The comeback tried him on turf.
Yeah, now he gets back to dirt and in the first level condition, certainly a player.
His stablemate, this horse ran a monster figure in a debut win at Gulfstream.
Feels like this is the one that's taking all that money. Very impressive in his debut.
Uncle Moonlight coming off a big effort against a really highly regarded Pipeline last out.
Yeah, out of that mare, By the Light, multiple stakes winner who's been a prolific producer.
Set sail. He auditioned for the Belmont Stakes in the Peter Pan. He didn't break from the gate.
He also was favored over We the People, gets Lasix back in the allowance race.
Good Culture, big price, moves by at 28 to 1. Here's 3 jokers. Faced Dr. Ardito last start, who's won 4 in a row.
He came off a big effort off the bench. This was a real good race. Can he back it up?
Alado, Safi Joseph Jr., Tyler Gaffleone.
Yeah, getting onto dirt from turf and synthetic. Maybe that'll be what the doctor ordered.
Chad Brown runner, who ran a big figure in his second start off a layoff.
Yeah, higher quality, really ran well, and
9 to 1.
Man, that's a big price for any Chad Brown horse.
Wow. Horse I thought would be, he was 9 to 2 morning line. I didn't think he'd be any higher than that. I thought he'd be lower. Mike Rapoli, he owns parts of both entries in here. Here's what he has done in the Belmont Stakes. He's a native New Yorker from Queens. You know, it would mean the world to him to win a Belmont. He'll have 2 chances at it this year with Nest, the filly, and Mo Donegal. Let's go to Acacia.
And only 75 people here with him at the racetrack today. Mike Rapoli joining me, 2 big chances in the Belmont Stakes today. Mike, let's start with Mo Donegal coming out of the Kentucky Derby. How happy are you to see him not drawn at the inside post today?
You know what? He's so used to the one. It's going to be different him being outside in better position. But you know, the horse is training great.
Todd does a great job. Usually between the Kentucky Derby and Belmont, he's had like 3 wins in 4 seconds. So this is his race, and he's doing really, really, really good.
The filly Nest taking on the boys. You said the second in the Kentucky Oaks was a tough beat. How special would it be to see her come back and win today?
You know, I lost this race 11 years ago to Stay Thirsty. Second, Ruler on Ice is not my favorite horse who beat me that day. And, you know, this is special. I mean, this is a race I've wanted to win for over 40 years since I was a 13-year-old racing fan. And whether it's Nest or Mo Donegal, I'm not going to be greedy and ask for dead heat. But either one, I'll be really, really happy.
You have the family and friends out today. Talk to me a little bit about that passion you have for New York racing.
You know, that's the thing. It's like, you know, it's all about New York, whether it's Aqueduct, Saratoga, or Belmont. I've won so many big races in New York. This has always been the dream race. I had a second. I'm 0 for 7. You know, listen, if we win, it's a blessing. If not, I'm going to keep trying.
Well, hope you start off the day well, too. You have the entry in here. Good luck, Mike.
Thank you so much, Acacia.
Greg, Mike Rapoli, him and his family and friends all ready for the big day today.
Well, we know no matter what, they're going to have fun. Mike Rapoli, he's in a lot of these big races, usually with Todd Pletcher. He's been Todd's biggest supporter, actually introduced him in his Hall of Fame speech. As for the filly Nest, yeah, everyone looks at different speed figures. I look at thoroughgraph figures a lot. I lean on those. Her Ashland win, from a figure standpoint on thoroughgraphs, that number was a race that would have won the Derby.
Well, she's talented, and her pedigree just screams Belmont Stakes. She's by Curlin, who finished second in the Belmont to a filly of Todd Pletcher's out of an AP Indy mare. AP Indy only ran the 3rd fastest Belmont in the history of the race. And she's got the right style. She won't be far away. She'll be lurking right in behind the pace.
Well, Mike Rapoli's part of his entry here. This son of Curlin, this horse sold for $350,000. This was the debut, the only start we've seen from him yet, and it was a pretty big debut. 91 Beyer speed figure, won by more than 4 lengths. First time out going a mile.
Yeah, and it's a tough distance to debut at, 1 mile. He was always attending the pace and just kept drawing off, kept finding air. Like his stride, like the way he sticks his head out and really reaches, covers a lot of ground.
That was down in South Florida. We'll see if that form translates here to New York in career start number 2. You can earn a $20 bonus today with Naira Bets. Bet at least $200 on Belmont Park, races 1 through 5, and you'll earn that $20 bonus whether you win or lose. Opt in. Don't forget to do that. You have to opt in at NairaBets.com. 2 minutes to post here in the second at Belmont, the start of the pick 4. Let's go back to Acacia.
We'll start with the one part of the entry who's still lightly raced, the 1A Bright Future, who I loved what I saw from him in his debut at Gulfstream, where he was kind of the one that struck me as this big burly colt by Curlin. He's grown up. He's so much more fit today than he was from his debut, which is a little bit of a scary thought because his debut was really impressive over Gasolini. We saw come back to run pretty well here yesterday, the day before at Belmont. Also for Todd Pletcher, had a big warm-up out on the track under Irad Ortiz Jr. The number 3, Set Sail. He was really spooky, really distracted, acting up in the paddock last time out before the Peter Pan. And I had spoken to Richard Mandela before the race, and he said that's out of character of him. He's not normally that way. He was one that really I had liked going into the race and did not like what I saw from him in all of the preliminaries. He looks a little bit better today in his weight, in that he's actually been here in New York, not having to deal with a ship this time around. But he's been sharp once again. You can see he's a little bit lathered on his neck. I'm hoping that he's able to keep things a little bit settled because he's just been a bit antsy in all of the prelims, and I'm hoping that he can keep focused in order to break sharper today. The number 8, Higher Quality, a massive son of Tisnow. He won nicely last time out. I think he will appreciate the extra furlong. He's a horse that was really keyed up, really difficult in his debut in 2021, trying to rear up when there was riders up last time out. He's much more focused today. He's still sharp, he's still forward, but it seems like he's mentally figuring out what this whole racing game is about, coming off the back of that maiden win for Chad Brown, Greg.
And he is completely forgotten on the board right now at 8-1. This is surprising to see him up at that number. That was a big victory at Aqueduct, going 7/8.
Yeah, and Chad Brown's horses improve with racing. I mean, he improved from his first start to his second start. Why can't he take another step forward?
Meanwhile, Set Sail, the 3-year-old, he's tackling older horses. He's tackling multiple winners in this field. And he's going to have to move forward to contend against this group. This was where he looked so good out on the West Coast, breaking his maiden, that Richard Mandela said, let's take a shot in the Peter Pan.
Richard Mandela does not ship horses across the country on a whim. This horse showed him in his training and the way he ran that he belonged. He also could not race with Lasix in a graded stake here in the Peter Pan. He gets Lasix back. We saw inside speed do so well in the first race. I think this horse goes to the lead, and they're going to work hard to get by him.
He's got to break better because he did not break well in that Peter Pan. He was nowhere near the front, and that's why we the people got to a lone lead in there and went gate to wire.
Yeah, but just what Casey was saying, he had shipped in, not as familiar with the surroundings. Now he's been training here. I think there's a lot to like. This horse was favored over We the People. We the People is a major player in today's Belmont Stakes.
We'll see if he can step up. This is a really tough group that he's going to go against here this afternoon. Pick 4 pool, over $550,000 in a sequence that's going to include our first grade 1 of the afternoon. That grade 1 Acorn in the 3-year-old filly division, the return of the 2-year-old champ Echo Zulu. And she's got a tall order in there with the likes of Matarea. Some other interesting fillies in there as well. And then we have the grade 1 Just a Game, Regal Glory, who Chad Brown says she's the top turf mare in the country until proven otherwise.
Well, I think he makes a good point, doesn't he? I mean,
she is a win machine.
A win machine. And, you know, we saw Chad in the New York handicap yesterday. He's got bench strength. Even when the favorite of his didn't show up, Rogier, he got it done with Bleecker Street.
Well, he's got bench strength in the Just a Game as well. In fact, Speak of the Devil is the morning line favorite, not Regal Glory, and he has an Italian as well.
And, you know, interesting, right? Peter Brandt, so strong in the game, owned Just a Game, the horse that this race is named for.
And we'll see if it comes first full circle for Peter Brandt. Champion female turf horse of 1980. We're set for the pick 4. Let's go upstairs to John Imbrial.
They're in the gate. And they're off. From the outside, it is Power Agenda, who's out for the early lead. And now from the rail, Uncle Moonlight moves up to challenge. Uncle Moonlight and Power Agenda. Uncle Moonlight goes on with it to poke ahead in front. Power Agenda runs in second. Bright Future is next in third. And then it's Three Jokers, who's racing in fourth, followed by Set Sail and Higher Quality. A break of 4 back to the 2 trailers, Good Culture and Alato. It is Uncle Moonlight by a half length. Power Agenda, Bright Future, the entry, running second and third through a quarter in 23 seconds. And then it's Three Jokers and Set Sail. Those two are right together. Higher Qualities on the outside. And farther back, Alato with Good Culture. Uncle Moonlight takes the field around the far turn. Uncle Moonlight by a length and a quarter. Power Agenda runs in second. To his outside is Bright Future. To his inside is Set Sail. Then comes Higher Quality and Three Jokers. Uncle Moonlight ran the half in 46 and 2. Has the lead coming for the head of the stretch, and the lead is now 3 lengths. Set Sail is moved into second. The entry is dropped back. It is Uncle Moonlight now by almost 5. Set Sail in second. Bright Future trying to get back into it on the outside. A furlong to the finish. It is Uncle Moonlight with a 4-length lead. Set Sail giving chase, but no threat to Uncle Moonlight. Another upset winner. 9-1 on Uncle Moonlight. Set Sail was second. And Bright Future finished third.
Kendra Carmouche, Uncle Moonlight, sharp early out of the gate and being down in the front on the inside. Strong again here through the first 2 races.
Uncle Moonlight, number 2, post 1, exploded out of the gate, goes wire to wire at a big price. Set Sail broke a bit slow, but spent the entire race on the inside before coming out. Run second. You better pay attention to how this track is playing.
Uncle Moonlight, 5-year-old son of Uncle Mo for JMS Stable, trained by Michelle Nevin. Now 3 for 6 at Belmont Park. 9-1 here, 14-1, 9-1 first 2 races on our Belmont Stakes Day card. Welcome to those just joining us on Bally Sports Southern California and San Diego. Those already with us on FS2. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Belmont Stakes Day. And we have our first Grade 1 of 8 on this program coming up next in the Acorn for 3-year-old fillies. 2-year-old champion Echo Zulu will return in that race, coming off the first defeat of her career in the Kentucky Oaks. Greg Wolf alongside champion jockey Richard Migliori. Rich Strike, horse that everyone's talking about, Derby winner, coming back. He was 80-1 in the Derby. What do you think of him today?
Well, he's just had a little bit of a disadvantage from a pace standpoint, but I think he's a horse that's gotten very good, improved at the right time. And so far what we've seen the first 2 races, speed and inside position is very important.
Since he has come here to New York, he has looked exceptional. It looks like he has moved forward physically and even mentally from that Kentucky Derby.
You know, we talk so much about horses changing and developing, and you know, they're young horses and they come to hand at different times. From a physical perspective, this horse has just blossomed. I thought he looked great when he got here after the Derby. I think he looks better than when he first got here.
But him and really everyone else in this race are going to be pace compromised, because it looks like We the People, who has the inside post, the Peter Pan winner, is going to be alone on the lead.
It looks like he's going to be very loose on the lead, particularly with the rail draw. And the first 2 races went wire to wire with horses with big prices. If they were logical horses, horses that were favored, and they went wire to wire, you wouldn't start making those assumptions. The fact that they were 2 longer priced horses that went gate to wire on the inside, you got to start taking a look at that.
14-1 in the opener, 9-1 now in race number 2, where speed and that inside has been very dominant, at least. Yeah, again, just 2 race sample. We'll see how it continues to play out the rest of the afternoon. Let's take a look at what we have remaining. As mentioned earlier, first Grade 1 of 8 coming up. And the Grade 1 Acorn 2-year-old champion Echo Zulu returns. We're going to bring you the Just a Game as well with Regal Glory. She's not even the morning line favorite in there, even though her trainer believes she's the best turf mare in the country. And Jack Christopher back at the Woody Stevens, eyeing a potential start later this summer in the Travers, where he's going to potentially take on his stablemates. Preakness winner early voting in Zandon. You can play all the action today by getting signed up and started with NyraBet. You'll get a $25 free play and that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus with that code right there, Belmont25. Go to NyraBets.com or download the NyraBets app to get started. Kendrick Carmouche on Uncle Moonlight for Michelle Nevin and JMS Stable at 9-1.
A real nice run from Uncle Moonlight. I love his pedigree. By the Light, the Dam. I was fortunate to win some stakes on her for Samantha Siegel. Beautiful son of Uncle Mo. And when he came out running like that, you knew he had run on his mind. Kendrick Carmouche, such a good gate rider, such a good position rider. Nice run from set sail to be second best. Uncle Moonlight put him to sleep.
Does the rider's room, 2 races in, attuned exactly how this track is playing? I know it's just 2 races, but is everybody watching this?
Oh, yes. At this level, they are all paying attention. And if they're not going to be at this level long.
$21.40, that dollar double, first 2 races on the card. $113.75 to begin things. Some big prices early on.
Billy Turner's family here for a nice tribute for Billy Turner, trainer of Seattle Slew, who passed away earlier this year. So it's nice to see them out. And Billy Turner, just a terrific guy. Greg, I got to ride for him, got to be friendly with him, and very cerebral trainer, guy you could talk to about a lot of different topics.
First Grade 1 is up next. 3-year-old fillies, 1 turn mile, and questions for Echo Zulu, the 2-5 favorite. She's coming off the first defeat of her career in the Kentucky Oaks, but shortening up in distance where most believe she's going to be very tough.
As far as I'm concerned, the only question she has is how far she's going to win by.
She's got a real filly to deal with in here with the likes of Matarea. You don't believe so?
She's going to clear, she's going to go to the lead, and she's going to go gate to wire.
All right, we will see coming up. It'll be fascinating here. She is ultra talented, 2-year-old champion filly. Meg, I enjoyed it.
Short but sweet.
Short but sweet indeed. We got a lot more coming up. Andy Serling stepping in for Richard Migliore. Right after this, there is the 2-year-old champion filly, Echo Zulu, coming off the first defeat of her career. She is a short price and our first of 8 Grade 1s on this Belmont Stakes card. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. Maybe the most talked about horse in the country outside of Rich Strike, the amazing Flightline. First start for him since the day after Christmas. He's been brilliant. And Latruska, the leader of the Distaff division, back in the Ogden Phipps.
Spun to Run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to Run, standing at Gageway.
The 154th edition of the $1.5 million Belmont Stakes is the most anticipated event on a superb weekend of racing at Belmont Park. This day of competition is second only to the Breeders' Cup in quality. Some of the sport's brightest stars will certainly shine on one of the world's most spectacular stages. Rich Strike.
And here comes Rich Strike down toward the inside. It's a wild finish in the Kentucky Derby, and on the wire, Rich Strike does it!
Latruska.
Latruska, Clariere. Latruska says, no, you don't!
Malathaat.
Malathaat keeps on grinding. She thunders past the Twin Spires. Search Results keeps trying hard, but Malathaat's an Oak Spectacular.
Search Results.
They're coming for the finish, and it will be Search Results to win the Grade 2 Ruffian.
Aloha West.
Here's Aloha West flying down the center of the track. Here's the wire. Oh, it's close.
Flightline.
Flightline, jogging home under Flavien Prat, wins by a distance.
Speaker's Corner.
Speaker's Corner in a dominating performance, winning the quarter.
Echo Zulu.
Echo Zulu wins the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
Jack Christopher.
But Jack Christopher streaking under the wire, the 3-length winner in the end.
The Test of the Champion deserves top billing as the final jewel in the Triple Crown, but the star-studded fields in the Metropolitan Handicap, the Ogden Phipps, the Acorn, and the Woody Stevens will sparkle all on their own.
There's the 2-year-old champion filly, Echo Zulu, making her way to the paddock for the Grade 1 Acorn coming up. She's coming off the first defeat of her career, a perfect 2-year-old campaign. She won her comeback as a 3-year-old. Got beat going a mile and an eighth. Now she shortens up to a mile as we take a look at our Belmont Stakes Day schedule. I have Andy Serling with me, New York Racing Association handicapper. Good to have you here, Andy.
Thanks. Great to be here. I was thinking as we were showing that Seattle Slew piece, 45 years ago today, my first Belmont Stakes live. I saw Seattle Slew win the Belmont Stakes. We'll see what happens today, but Slew is a good one. Looking forward to seeing this matchup between Matarea and Echo Zulu, who I think Echo Zulu ran the best race of her career in defeat in the Kentucky Oaks, because at a distance that might be a little far for her, with a very fast pace that took a brutal toll on the pace setter, she was digging in every step of the way, stretched the limit. She's a terrific filly and very much the one to beat.
It's the first time since her debut she did not get the lead in a race. Let's jump ahead to the Woody Stevens. Grade 1 for 3-year-old boys. Jack Christopher went to the sidelines after that brilliant Champagne win. We didn't get to see him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as a result. His comeback in the Pate Mile showed he has not lost a step.
I mean, he's like, horses like him are almost like push-button machines, like a Jackie's Warrior that we saw yesterday, and he just has real brilliance to him. He showed it in his debut at Saratoga. He continued it in the Champagne, and he came back, as you said, like he didn't miss a step. Well, Chad Brown doesn't love the idea, I think, of cutting him back to 7 furlongs, and we'll see if the Haskell is ultimately the goal. He shouldn't have any problem with it whatsoever. He's the speed from the inside, and what we've seen so far, it appears that being inside may be a significant advantage in this racetrack, and outside horses are drifting away.
That's race 6 on the card, one of 3 Grade 1s we're going to bring you on our early coverage. Of course, our ABR race of the week, the Test of the Champion, 154th running of the Belmont Stakes presented by Naira Bets, where you could, of course, play all the action today. This is a look at the current odds, the lone speed of the race. Inside draw for the Peter Pan winner with the people. Seemingly would be very good through the first 2 races again today. Still 5-1 on the board right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the multi-day doubles we had, he's probably 5-2 to 3-1, and I was against We the People. Now listen, 2 races does not a bias make, but this is a horse, We the People, that might be able to control if this racetrack is favoring inside runners, but he's got to show he can do it on a dry track, Greg.
Flavien Prat will be back aboard for Rudolph Brissett, the son of Constitution. Skippy Longstocking, Saffie Joseph Jr., long shot with Manny Franco aboard.
You know, to be fair to him, while he's a really one of the rank outsiders, he has improved his game in the last few starts, and he's stepping forward. So if freakishly he loves a mile and a half, maybe he has a chance to upset.
The filly, Nest. Most of us know the story by now. Todd Pletcher won this race 15 years ago with Rags to Riches out dueling Curlin. This is a daughter of Curlin. He'll try and do it with a filly again.
It is kind of a cool circle coming around, but she is no Rags to Riches. But the good news for her is there's nobody in here that even resembles Curlin. So we'll see. She's not fast enough to win the races she's run, but maybe she can improve the distance.
I have her Ashland as a race that could have won the Derby.
Really? Okay.
We'll see.
I have her. I picked her 3rd because I respect Todd in this race.
Rich Strike, the Kentucky Derby winner. What do you expect from him today?
I'm against him from a betting standpoint. He'll be too short a price. He got a super pace in the Derby, but he is the story of this race, and I want to see him run well. I don't mind being wrong, especially if he runs a good race.
Kenny McPeak, Creative Minister, ran 3rd in the Preakness behind early voting in Epicenter.
On a fair racetrack, I like Creative Minister in here. I think he can stalk this horse on the inside. We the People sit close, and I love the fact that he's improved with every start.
Mo Donegal ran down the lone speed. That, of course, the horse who went on to win the Preakness in that Wood Memorial victory. Early voting.
He'll be the favorite in all likelihood, and I actually do think he's the horse to beat in here because his overall resume very good. His Derby a bit disappointing, though he had a couple of things go against him.
Irad Ortiz Jr. will ride. Dylan Davis getting the first Triple Crown mount of his career on Golden Glider for Mark Casse. Won this race a few years back with Sir Winston.
Well, if we have a gold rail today, Mark Casse knows how to win Belmonts on gold rails with great rides from Joel Rosario. Dylan Davis is going to be in a lot of Triple Crown races in his career. This one, tough to win here.
And Joel Rosario, he was the pilot on Sir Winston. That was a brilliant ride in that Belmont Stakes. He'll be on Barber Road for John Ortiz.
Well, if we have a strong rail, you've got the right rider for getting a closer on the inside and taking advantage of it. But I just don't see how Barber Road is a better closer than Mo Donegal and maybe even Rich Strike.
Well, let's get back to the one that everyone's likely going to be chasing in this race. In the Peter Pan, Set Sail did not break well. We the People was all by himself on the front end.
From a pre-speed figure standpoint, this is the best race anybody's probably ever run in here. And he has a right to be a very good horse. Getting high 80 buyers in 2-turn races to begin his career. His Arkansas Derby is a throwout. It was 3 weeks after his second start, a rush job, kind of lost it in the racetrack, ridiculous trip, a legitimate throwout. The problem is wet seal tracks can produce exaggerated results. And it's not that the buyer figure is wrong. It's just, can it really be predictive on a dry track? But listen, if the rail is strong, he's going to be riding it up front, and maybe that makes him very tough to beat.
And look, he took a big jump forward, biggest race he's ever run, and now to do it in just a few weeks later time, it's a big ask.
It is a big ask. But on the other hand, to just say that it's a big race because he was on a wet track would be unfair. I'm gambling that it is, but who knows?
Let's check in with the rest of our crew with more on the Belmont Stakes. Lafitte Pinkai and a man who's won 3 Belmont Stakes, Hall of Famer Gary Stevens.
Yeah, Greg, and We the People's jockey, Flavien Prat, did everything but win last year's Belmont Stakes, coming up just short on Hot Rod Charlie to essential quality, Gary. Yeah, you rode in 11 Belmont Stakes, as Greg mentioned. You won 3 of them. I get the sense, I feel like there's more focus on the jockeys and race strategy in the Belmont than any other of the Triple Crown events. Why is that?
Well, it's the Big Sandy. It's the circumference of this racetrack. The surface is different than the other 2 Triple Crown races, the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. This is a deeper type racetrack. Andy keeps talking about the Golden Rail. Yes, it looks like the track is being kind to speed horses right now. I think the most important thing about today's race is Flavien Prat. You don't give anything away that comes to you easy. He's got to make sure that We the People gets a clean break, leaving the starting gate. Don't get shuffled back. If he has a stagger step and you lose that position, you lose your full advantage going into that first turn. He's aware of that. He's a big money rider. He's fully capable. He's got the perfect draw down on the inside.
Has to be patient not to pull the trigger too soon, though, while he's dictating things up front.
Yeah, but he's ridden enough races here at Belmont Park. He's aware of that. If he can get this horse into the same rhythm that he was in the Peter Pan, then he's going to be in great shape. He's going to be able to sit on him all the way down the backside. He runs the turns well. His stride suits this racetrack perfectly with the big sweeping turns. He's got a long, beautiful stride to him, and he's got a high cruising speed.
So what you're saying is that experience for a jockey kind of matters here at Belmont Park, because this guy, I'm not going to say he doesn't have any, because come post time for the Belmont Stakes, he will have ridden in a grand total of 1 race on the main track here at Belmont Park. Taking selfies, thumbs up. He is a Kentucky Derby winning jockey. Sonny Leon, what's the key to success today with Rich Strike?
Again, he's got to get a clean break as well. He's not going to be nearly as far off the pace as what he was in the Kentucky Derby. That was a suicide pace up front. He was aware of it. He had to save ground from that 20 post position draw that he had. I liked what Sonny said earlier in the interview with Maggie, and he's aware that he can't drop back like he did. He's got confidence in this horse. The horse has been here for a number of days now training on this racetrack, so the horse is prepared for this racetrack. The horse knows the racetrack. He knows his horse. He has confidence in his horse. Sonny Leon, I have a lot of confidence in him. Listen, he had never ridden in a Kentucky Derby, and he handled that just fine with one of the best, if not the best, ride in a Kentucky Derby that I've seen in my lifetime.
Difference between winning and losing, and that's a big statement from a 3-time Kentucky Derby winning jockey, Gary Stevens. One of the best rides he's ever seen on a Derby stage, Sonny Leon and Rich Strike. There's a champion, Echo Zulu. Our champion is in the paddock. Maggie Wolfendale with this Grade 1 Acorn Paddock Report.
Lafitte, thank you. We'll take a look at the 2-year-old female champ of 2021, Echo Zulu. And as you heard Andy say moments ago, that her last race in the Kentucky Oaks arguably could have been her best race to date, albeit in defeat, where she was on top of a fast pace. I mean, the 2 horses that were closest to her finished last and second to last, and I'm talking distant second and last. So she really ran hard and showed her tenacity, showed that she is that true racehorse. Now, this is the first time I'm seeing her, despite it being her third start back as a 3-year-old. She hasn't changed much physically. If anything, though, she kind of has evened out that frame. So while she hasn't grown much in stature, she's just become a bit more streamlined. So I don't think that 9 furlongs is really her gig. I do think that this mile is absolutely perfect for her. We'll see. She's not drawn well considering what we've seen in the first 2 races today, but she has speed. I do think that we might see Matt Torreya, though, applying maybe more speed as she comes out of sprint races. Not to say that she's going to be ahead of Echo Zulu, but she's going to be right there with her. She is a bit sharper, a bit more keen than her main rival in here, and as she adds distance this time around, and we have only seen her at a mile once, albeit around 2 turns at Oaklawn Park, where she was a distant second behind Kentucky Oaks winner Secret Oath. I do think a 1-turn mile is okay. I think she tops out at that. She looks sensational here, carrying great conditioning, great flesh. She definitely looks like her game face is on, Greg. I'm so excited to see these two throw it down in this Grade 1 Acorn.
Maggie, thanks. That is a serious challenger to the filly that this reigning Eclipse Award-winning rider, Joel Rosario, will be aboard. Echo Zulu, coming off the first defeat of her career. Can she clear and get to the front from that outside post in the first Grade 1 of the afternoon on Belmont Stakes Day?
Anybody going? 70, 50, 75, 850, 75, 175, 175, 150, 175. Ralph, 850,000. Thank you. Volatile in front by 2. Whitmore is down at the rail. Forense Fire and Mind Control. It's Volatile in front as they pass the 16th pole. Volatile victorious in the Vanderbilt. 1 by 2 lengths. 850,000. Thank you.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Stay fabulous. Resorts World.
And they're into the stretch, and it's Echo Zulu sent down for the final furlong, opening up by 4. Tarabi and Juju's man battling for second behind a no-doubt champion. Echo Zulu wins the NetJets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
Echo Zulu on her way to a 2-year-old championship season. She was just so much better than everyone else earlier in her career. Has she taken that step forward as a 3-year-old? Physically, Maggie says, no, she really hasn't. Here, with her speed, she's going to be very dangerous no matter what.
She is, but the reality is the horse inside her has the speed to run with her, and if Pratt's paying attention, he's going.
Dream Lift. She had a huge effort at Churchill in a Grade 2 win.
Draws well on the inside, and if they do battle up front, I think she's the likeliest one to pick up the pieces. Big overlay at 21-1.
Don Pletcher with a maiden, but if she can move forward, she might be in the mix. She's 7-1.
I get it, but you're betting a maiden in this race at 7-1 that regressed from her first start to her second start. I think she should be the longest shot on the board.
Divine Huntress with Luis Saez, 16-1.
Another potential pick up the pieces type horse.
the main contender to the odds-on favorite and champion Echo Zulu. Here's Monterey.
Can't knock her races. I mean, I really think they put her on a somewhat close to Echo Zulu, and if the rail is in fact a big advantage and they gun her, Echo Zulu could have a problem.
Back-to-back graded stakes wins, but looking for her first grade 1. And here's the champ, Echo Zulu, cutting back in distance from that Kentucky Oaks at 1 1/8 miles.
I love that they've cut her back to the Acorn and potentially the Test as well, as opposed to longer distance races. She ran her heart out last time, ran a winning effort, just an impossible setup for her. And Secret Oath's pretty good.
Yeah, very good. Echo Zulu's trainer, Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen, who's standing by with Acacia.
He is, Greg. And Steve, sometimes you can really learn a lot from a horse when they're defeated. A huge effort from Echo Zulu last time. What did you take away from that Kentucky Oaks?
As you mentioned, just a huge effort from her. She's just such a special filly to us. I mean, as you can tell, you know, small in stature, huge in heart, just tremendous amount of ability, and we are hoping to get back in the winner's circle where we think she belongs.
2-year-old champion. What kind of development, maybe mentally, if not physically, have you seen from her as a 3-year-old?
Very mature filly. Last year, obviously, with success that she's had. She came back in very recognizable. It's obviously her. She's got, you know, a tremendous attitude, very, very generous in the mornings, and just very excited about today's Acorn for her.
And you had said that maybe cutting back in distance, going to the 1 turn, will suit her better this year.
Oh, absolutely. You know, taking the try of the Oaks at 1 1/8 miles, obviously a little past her limit, plenty of pace in the race, but feel excellent about our chances today. Quality field assembled, but we're very fortunate to be associated with her.
She looks terrific. Thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Steve Asmussen had a big win yesterday with Jackie's Warrior. Greg looking to add to that graded stakes tally with Echo Zulu here.
Star after star, Steve Asmussen unleashing on this program. The man right there who's won more races than anyone in the history of this sport in North America. I know Echo Zulu, very special for him, a daughter of the great gun runner who he campaigned.
Yeah, and Steve's going to be doing very well with his shares in Gun Runner because they're going to be very, 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 very in demand. You know, this is the Frizette, the 1 mile race here at Belmont, similar situation. Last year with Jackie's Warrior, he ran well enough in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, went fourth, that fast pace, that they wanted to at least take a shot to make him a Triple Crown horse. They ran in the Southwest, it didn't work out. So right away, they went back to sprints and they were rewarded with the best sprinter in the country. They're doing the same thing with her. They're cutting her back and they're pointing to the bigger sprint races. And I think it's hard because there's a lot of money, more money in those races, whether it's the CCA Oaks, the Alabama, the Cotillion, and there's a lot of prestige. But what Steve Asmussen does and what he did with Jackie's Warrior and he's doing with her is doing the right thing by the horse. So when you do the right thing by your horse, you get rewarded.
And just on her class alone, she might be able to gut out maybe some of those down the line, but
I
he
agree with you.
knows she's going to be at her best, definitely at shorter distances. This right here, her main competition. So Monterey, she has reeled off 3 in a row, including back-to-back stakes wins. At her best, you think she's on par with Echo Zulu?
I think there's a chance she is. And I don't want to make too much of the racetrack. We've seen 2 races. But it's not just that inside speeds and an improbable hanging horse won the first race, but outside runners just evaporated. 2 4 to 5 shots. Whether you liked them or not, they figured to be closer to the finish. They fell apart. So there's a real chance that the rail is a big advantage. And Monterey has the speed to run with Echo Zulu if they want to. And on this racetrack, I have to think Brad Cox paying attention, Flavian Pratt as well. And if she goes and they hook up, she may have the advantage of being inside of her.
You can win big with Naira Bets. Get your share of $2,000 when you hit the late pick 5. If you've not already done it, get signed up, started at Naira Bets, download the app. That's what awaits the winner, of course, here in the Acorn, Grade 1. And that filly right there, the champion, already a 3-time Grade 1 winner. But she is coming off that first defeat of her career. But for many, including you, she didn't lose anything in defeat. Let's head downstairs to Lafitte and Gary.
See how Echo Zulu responds to that defeat in the Kentucky Oaks. Back to a preferred distance here, middle distance in the Acorn. Circling back to Monterey, Gary, last 2 wins took place without the lead. I think that's key. If Flavian Pratt and Monterey are going to upset Echo Zulu, Joel Rosario, what does Pratt need to do early on.
Let her run her race. I don't think he needs to take her out of her game. I truly don't believe that Matarea is as quick as Echo Zulu is. And I just almost feel like, you know, Echo Zulu, she only had the one prep race in the Fairgrounds Oaks preparing for the Kentucky Oaks and going a mile and an eighth in the Kentucky Oaks. I think that they may have been concerned about that added distance for her. I don't think she's a mile and an eighth filly. I think she is possibly a spectacular miler. I think she's got brilliant early speed. I think that early speed will be used, and I think Richie said it earlier. I think she's going to break running Echo Zulu. I think she's going to clear, get to the fence. Joel Rosario, he chased the winner in the second race. He was just toiling. He ran second, but he knows how speed is dangerous right now down on the fence. So I think he's probably going to try and take advantage of that speed with Echo Zulu, try and clear Matty Rhea early on.
Echo Zulu staring right at you, Gary. We check in with Maggie as we have 2 minutes to go till this Acorn. Maggie.
So Joel Rosario is dismounting the champion Echo Zulu. She's going to be a late scratch here, guys. Dr. Vetarosa, our lead veterinarian here at NYRA, called Joel over, did not like the way she was moving. I had to say I kind of thought the same thing. So really erring on the side of caution and protecting our champion Echo Zulu, who will be a scratch here, guys. As we'll move on to number 1, Dream Lith. Came into the paddock 2 back when I saw her at Oaklawn Park. She was a bit of a hot mess that day, and it continued. It boiled over onto the racetrack. She came into the paddock today with the same kind of demeanor, but since she's come out here to Belmont, which I'll tell you what, is a lot more calm than what it was on Arkansas Derby Day, she's chilled out quite nicely. I've always had an interest in this filly. We'll see what she brings to the table, but I'm going to take a shot in the dark here with Echo Zulu, the favorite coming out. Number 3, Divine Huntress, looks sensational. Granted, I loved her too back when she ran in the Gazelle, but I'm putting faith in my man Luis Saez, who always pays attention to these tracks and how they might be playing. I think she secures that inside stalking trip. Lafitte?
Maggie, thanks so much. Gary, this is shocking. Shocking. Echo Zulu, the odds-on favorite for the Acorn, the reigning 2-year-old filly champion, a late scratch from the vets before this Acorn, just before post time.
Lafitte, we're seeing this more and more across the board at racetracks across America, where the veterinarians have been very proactive in actually calling the riders over and not asking them, perhaps, is your horse feel all right or whatever. They literally tell them, take your tack off. I don't like the way that this horse is warming up. And they've kind of taken it out of the jockey's hands and the trainer's hands. And, you know, it's just the way things have gone here in America. It's not a bad thing. But I know that certain trainers have become frustrated with this at points in time. So further than that, I really don't know how to respond to the scratch of Echo Zulu.
Greg, priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. What's best for the racehorse?
Without question, Lafitte. So this is a shocking development, having this champion scratch, but always do what's best for the horse. And Joel Rosario felt something was off. She'll go back to the barn.
There's no chance of a good result for anybody involved. Most importantly, the horse, but the human elements as well, the bettors also, if you let a horse run, if there's any kind of issue. And I'll tell you what, I can't think of Joel Rosario scratching horses, you know? I mean, so this is really extremely unfortunate for a lot of reasons, but it's also extremely fortunate that we have so much care.
No question. And with that scratch, the champion coming out, who is incredibly quick, 1-5 favorite now on Matarea, who is likely going to be absolutely loose on the front end.
She's a better bet at 1-5 than Echo Zulu was at 1-2 or 2-5 in this race. I'm going to try to cement a 4-1 exacta in here from a gambling standpoint, to stay on the rail and pick the pieces up. She shouldn't be the longest shot on the board. But Matarea and Godolphin and Brad Cox, they are, I mean, they're the biggest favorite in the card, right, at this point? I mean, bigger favorite
without
than
question.
Jack Christopher, bigger favorite than Latruska. Both horses that benefited from drawing the rail. But we're sorry not to see that matchup, but it's not happening for all the right reasons at this point.
So that has changed things quite a bit And you heard the crowd just let out somewhat of a shock when they found out Echo Zulu was coming out. But again, all in the best interests of that champion filly, who we hope to see down the line. With her out, Monterey for trainer Brad Cox and Godolphin. Flavien Prat, a heavy favorite, who looks to assert her dominance early on the lead here in the first of 8 Grade 1s on our Belmont Stakes Day card. It's the Acorn. Let's go upstairs to John Imbrial.
They're in the gate. And they're off in the Acorn, and Monterey came out in stride and is right on the lead here, in front by a length. Divine Huntress is running in second, a little more than 2 lengths to Inventing, and Dream Lith is the trailer in fourth. It is the favorite, Monterey, the big favorite, in front by 3/4 of a length. Divine Huntress on the outside in second, 2.5 back to the maiden, Inventing, and Dream Lith is the trailer, opening quarter mile in 23 1/5 seconds. Monterey takes these 3-year-old fillies past the half-mile pole and is the leader here. It is Monterey on top here. Monterey the leader by a little more than a length. Now approaching the half-mile pole. Monterey in front by 2. With Divine Huntress in second, the opening half, 46 2/5 seconds. Down on the inside is Inventing, and on the outside is Dream Lith. It is Monterey by a length and a quarter. Divine Huntress continues to give chase in second. Dream Lith has moved up on the outside into third, and Inventing is last as they come for the head of the stretch. And it is Monterey in control right from the start, continues to lead here, and is now opened up on the field. Ran 3/4 in 1:10 3. It is Monterey with a 5-length lead. Divine Huntress running in second. Monterey put on the lead right from the get-go by Flavien Prat, and there was really no anxious moments. Monterey stays unbeaten in 2022. She wins the Grade 1 Acorn by almost 6 lengths. Divine Huntress was second, then Dream Lith and Inventing.
Well, walk in the park is expected after the champion 2-year-old filly Echo Zulu, the primary speed, scratched out of the race as easy as could be for Monterey, who's now won 3 consecutive graded stakes.
Yeah, basically once the gate opened and she was in front, they could have paid you off. It was in the winner's circle. And obviously this is kind of an obvious statement, but for those people that were alive in pick 4s and pick 5s, you get the post-time favorite, you had Echo Zulu, and we do care about the bettors, and they'll still be alive. I understand, but you know, in this particular case, at least the bettors in those wagers no wagers were punished.
Flavien Prat, Brad Cox, Godolphin. And look, this is a talented filly in her own right. Now, obviously, got everything her own way, including the way the track is playing right now. But she's going to be a fun one to watch down the line.
No, it was a paid public workout. But having said that, it's not like she didn't come in here with credentials. I agree. And, I mean, at this point, she's got to be the favorite for the test in Saratoga. I mean, we'll see what happens. You know, Norm Cassie's horse, Pretty Birdie, who finished second to her last time, is good. But Monterey easily beat her last time.
Let's go to Maggie.
Here with Flavien Prat and Monterey. Flavien, we saw a dramatic change in the makeup of this race when we saw the champion Echo Zulu scratched at the gate. What kind of thoughts go through your head when you see that?
Well, I mean, obviously she was the filly to beat today. When you see her, I mean, something that you don't want to see, but on a personal note, it's definitely seems like the race gets a little easier for us. But she did everything right today. She broke well as usual, and she was really happy on the lead and responded really well when I asked her to make a move.
She did, and she responded beautifully to the mile. Flavien, we've seen 3 races. Obviously, she was a heavy favorite, but before, 2 upsets wiring the field. You're on the lone speed in today's 154 Belmont Stakes and We the People. How does that make you feel?
Good. I mean, since everybody's saying that I'm the lone speed, so at one point somebody's gonna go with me. But no, I mean, listen, we're gonna break well. We're not gonna change his game, and you know, hopefully he can run the 1.5 miles and may the best win.
Flavien, well, you got 1 Grade 1 out of the way. Best of luck later on, but congrats here with Monterey.
Thank you.
All right, Flavien Prat kicking off the day in style with this win in the Acorn, Lafitte.
It's like, stop it. Just stop talking about me being on the low in speed, Gary. Look, in the NFL, when a top defensive back gets injured, a top corner gets injured, what does the offense do? Like, they attack the replacement, right?
Yes.
In this case, a late scratch, Echo Zulu is out. What does Flavian Pratt do? He takes no prisoners, goes right after the lead with Matarea and runs this field off their feet.
Yeah, the race was over, like Andy said. When the gates opened, he got the clean break. She cleared early, got down to the fence, and it was just a matter of how far she was going to win by. She's a nice filly. She continues to improve. This literally was a walk in Belmont Park.
Could be a big afternoon for star jockey Flavian Pratt. As mentioned, a date with We the People in the Belmont Stakes. Lone speed on paper. With an update on Echo Zulu, we check in with Acacia.
I got a chance to catch up with her rider, Joel Rosario Lafitte, coming back as he got a ride from the ambulance following the field. And he said he's very disappointed, but it was the right call. He said Echo Zulu was taking a long time to warm up. Dr. Vederosa called him over, and he said she just didn't feel like she was moving comfortably. He knows this filly very well, and he said she just wasn't herself today. It was the right call. We look forward to seeing Echo Zulu next time, Lafitte.
Acacia, thanks so much. And it helps the familiarity, Gary. Joel Rosario, who has ridden Echo Zulu in several consecutive races. He's very familiar with her.
Absolutely, Lafitte. It's almost like driving a car that you've driven since it was brand new, and you feel something that's slightly different. You know that something's going wrong. Never take a chance. Brakes going out, something like that. And that's exactly what he did.
Look forward to seeing the champion another day. This day, this race belonging to that filly, Matarea, for Godolphin and Brad Cox. Well, the first Saturday in May belonged to that chestnut at 80-1. Rich Strike, what will he do in the Belmont Stakes? For trainer Eric Reed, we'll find out this evening around 6:45 Eastern.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, he was the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs. Now his progeny are bringing top dollar in the sales rate. Dual surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We are back at America's Day at the Races on FS2, regional networks in Southern California. Our program brought to you by Hill & Dale at Alapa. Scratch of the champion, Echo Zulu, and that made an easy time of things for Matarea, who has now won 3 consecutive graded stakes, her first Grade 1 win.
Sees your horse. You don't mind a horse, the race that's sort of falls in your lap. But you have to think that Flavia and Pratt and the connections were excited to take on the champ. You know, I mean, to lose that, it's deflating. Winning is great and everything, but competition's also great, and it's not even disappointing.
These are the best in the business. They relish that competition, no question. $2.60 for the win. Let's go to Acacia.
Thank you. Very pleased to be joined by Michael Banahan, Director of Bloodstock from Godolphin. Michael, Matarea, she has turned into a new horse this year.
Absolutely. And, of course, we always want those 3-year-old fillies to be Oaks fillies, and we tried to stretch her out. She ran into an Oaks winner down in Oak Lawn, and we decided we're going to back her up a little bit and sprint her. And since she's done that, she's been undefeated. Coming here, going a mile today, was always a bit of a test, but we liked the one turn, and that helped her. And obviously it was very unfortunate the favourite scratching out of the race. But we really fancied her chances coming in anyway. She's a really nice filly, has improved every race that she's run in. And hopefully we'll have a nice summer up in Saratoga as well. And the obvious target is the Test Stakes next time out.
We can't wait to see her there. But another horse who cut back to one turn and has been very successful, Speaker's Corner in the Met Mile today.
Yeah, look, he's doing fantastic. That's his wheelhouse. One turn, 7/8, 1 mile. He's in great form. He's doing very well. We know it's a big test with the beast coming in from California and with a Breeders' Cup winner in the race as well. I'm not mentioning Todd's Jockey Club winner from a couple of years ago. So it's going to be a tough race, but he's progressed, done well. He's in great form, training super. So we're going in there and hoping for a big run from him, you know.
We can't wait to see him. Congratulations with Matarea kicking off the Grade 1 action.
Thanks very much, Acacia.
Michael Banahan from Godolphin. Dominant was Godolphin last year. They look to dominate the Grade 1s today, Greg.
Well, that Med Mile, talk about a heavyweight showdown to come with two biggies in Flightline and Speaker's Corner.
This is a race. We've been talking about Flightline running in this race since before he won the Malibu. I mean, and...
Which was December 26th.
Right, and Speaker's Corner's had this tremendous year to put himself in there, so you've got a great matchup, and as well as Speaker's Corner ran in the Carter, if the Flightline, the Malibu shows up, he's got to run even better. I can't wait for this race, Greg, and I know you feel the same way.
Up next, Grade 1, Just a Game. We got a quick look at it. Of course, a champion campaign by Peter Brandt. He's going to have 3 chances to win this year's edition of it coming up. But of course, the big one, the ABR Race of the Week, the Belmont Stakes, presented by Naira Betts. Current look at the odds, it is Mo Donegal, the Wood Memorial winner, for Todd Pletcher, who was the 5-2 favorite. Well, in December 2016, a fire at the Mercury Equine Center in Lexington destroyed one of trainer Eric Reed's barns, claiming the lives of nearly 24 horses under his care. Reed was devastated, says he even thought of leaving the sport during that incident. But with the love and support of his family, friends, and those in the racing community, Reed picked himself up, says he learned a valuable lesson from that tragic incident.
I learned a lot from the fire. I mean, you learn when you get down to what you believe is probably the lowest point of your life. It's not. And I learned how much love and kindness is out there from strangers and from friends, because they build you back up and help you through those times. And, you know, I thought that was a horrible deal, and it was. It was 23, like our children. But, you know, we bounced back, and then I had 2 of my best friends pass away of cancer. I mean, that was every bit as hard, you know. And then my grandson was killed in a terrible accident. So there's another thing that was just as hard. But you find a way to get through them, and then out of nowhere, God blesses us with Rich.
Rich Strike, now by 10, now by 12. Rich Strike, this race was never in doubt.
Reed and owner Rick Dawson claim Rich Strike out of his second career start, a 17 1/4 length maiden victory beneath the Twin Spires at Churchill Downs. They paid $30,000 for the son of Keen Ice that day, and after his next start, Reed began thinking about the Kentucky Derby.
I thought at that point, you know, if I was ever going to have one, this could be the one. But it was still a big reach, but that's when I started thinking that way. Well, I thought at least we were going to get our money's worth out of him. And, you know, we turned out to be a little bit better than that. I always thought we had a chance. It was just finding how we were going to get the points. when Sonny got off him in the Battaglia, his eyes were as big as silver dollars, and he said he has the fire that we've been waiting on. He goes, he's ready now. We just need to get the points.
Despite losing his first 5 starts for the new connections, Reed never wavered from his lofty goal. After a 3rd place finish in the Jeff Ruby Stakes, Rich Strike was still on the outside looking in of the Kentucky Derby starting gate. But an 11th hour scratch of Ethereal Road turned Reed's vision into reality. Rich Strike would now be one of the 20 horses to run for the Roses. And despite being the longest shot on the board, it was already a dream come true for Reed and those who supported him in his darkest hour.
I remember everything about the walkover because it was my dad and my crew, and I wanted those guys to be able to say they made the walkover. And I remember as we made the turn onto the track, and I looked at the grandstands, and I told my dad, I said, we are always those guys watching everybody. I said, this year they're watching us. And, you know, I was so happy for my dad to be able to make that walk because, man, he paid his dues to, you know, he deserved that walk more than I did. And I was a winner at that point, no matter what happened in the race.
And here comes Rich Strike down toward the inside. It's a wild finish in the Kentucky Derby, and on the wire, Rich Strike does it! Wow! A shocker in the Kentucky Derby!
He's changed a lot of lives forever. You know, I tell Jerry Jr., I said, you know, your great-grandchildren will look at the Derby Museum and say, that was my great-grandfather. I said, you're there forever. I said, this is part of history that can't be taken away from you, this experience.
The impact Rich Strike has had goes beyond just the team that cares for him every day. He's now one of the sport's most beloved underdog stories.
I enjoy the fan base that it seems Richie has because I keep hearing about it. I see pages that people have created on social media that I don't even know who these people are, and it's, you know, the Rich Strike fan club and stuff. So it's fun to watch. I'm tickled to death that we're seeing happiness again, and you know, I hope Richie can keep running good and keep these fans happy, and I hope this ride goes a long way.
When asked what it means to have a horse like this in his life, Reed thinks back to that December morning in 2016 and where he and his team are now.
It's strictly just a gift from God. He just came into the barn in a crazy way, and he's changed every person's life associated with him.
Out of a heartbreaking tragedy came the most improbable of outcomes, and if you had written a movie script about this, Hollywood would have rejected it, saying it's just too unbelievable. What an incredible turn of events and shocking upset. Let's go to Gary Stevens for more.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with Sonny Leon, and I'll tell you what, Rich Strike has definitely changed his life for the better. Sonny, everybody on your racing circuit knows who you are. You won over 226 races last year on your circuit, leading rider there for a long time. But you flew under the radar coming to the Kentucky Derby. No one knew who Rich Strike was. He scratched in the day before the Kentucky Derby. They didn't know who Sonny Leon is. 5 weeks have gone by. Your life has changed. You've become a household name worldwide. What has this change been like, man?
Wow, man, that was great history, man. Rich Strike changed my life. The team Rick too, you know, because they've been supporting me like for 2 years. So without Eddie Reed, I think that's not gonna happen, you know. I'm so grateful with him because wow, he gave me this opportunity. That's the only what I need, you know, to be in the Kentucky Derby and race like this and do what I did. So that was great, man. Yeah, my life changed after I won the Kentucky Derby because one day after the Kentucky Derby, I didn't still believe. Man, I asked myself, I won the Kentucky Derby. My wife said, yeah, Sonny, you did it. Yeah, that's real. Yeah, that's real, Sonny. So everybody the next day, right away, start to call me. My phone is going exploring. A lot of people know who is Sonny Leon now because the next day when I won the Kentucky Derby, I fly to Tampa Bay, and everybody say, hey, you was the guy to win the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, it's cool. Can I get a picture with you? And everybody, you know, around the beach and every single place where I go now, everybody know who is Sonny Leon.
Well, I enjoy talking to you about this. People can either embrace their fame or they can run away from it. It seems like you're embracing it. Are you feeling any added pressure? Now you had no pressure on you going into the Kentucky Derby. You found out less than 24 hours before the race that you were actually going to ride in the Derby. So is there added pressure going into the Belmont today?
No, not at all, because, you know, I got my team. They support me all the time. They believe in me. I believe in my team. I believe in Rich Strike. And he got only one pace to ride.
One more quick question. In the ideal world, what type of trip would you like to have with Rich Strike this afternoon?
Well, just depends, you know, because everything we can talking about the race right now, but when the gate open, everything change. You know that more than me. So, but I think he's gonna be more close because it's short field, it's long distance. Everybody try to get a low fraction. And everybody try to say something for the end this time. No, like when we rode the Kentucky Derby, everything was different. But he's gonna be more close this time. And well, I try to give it to him the best position, the best trick, and keeping him relaxed until make one move.
Okay, Sonny, good luck to you this afternoon. I hope it goes well for you, and congratulations. They can never take that Derby away from you. Maggie?
Hey, thank you, Gary. And we'll take a look at the horses here in the paddock for today's Grade 1 Just a Game. Great interview, by the way, with Sonny Leon. Looking forward to seeing him in the Belmont Stakes a little bit later, but yet it's another Grade 1 second here on the card. And we'll take a look at the horse that won her stateside debut quite emphatically, and that's number 3. Speak of the Devil in the Distaff Turf Mile on Kentucky Derby Day. She blitzed the field, and it wasn't like she got this supersonic pace to close into. In fact, her stablemate, an Italian who we also see here, set somewhat tepid fractions, and she just made this huge eye-catching move around the turn and powered away from the field. And let me tell you, I like what I see here today. She just is that typical turf miler prototype. She's a little bit smaller, a very handy, great coat to her though, and coming second off of that layoff, looks incredibly fit here. She definitely has a bit of a presence to her as well. As we'll move on to a horse that's a long shot in here. Actually, the longest shot on the board is number 5. That's Wakanaka for trainer Belmont, and this is the trainer who has actually won more Just a Games than anyone, including the inaugural running back in 1994. He has 5 to his record, looking to make it 6. She looks sensational. Again, the typical turf miler prototype, but a bit of a burlier girl. Kind of carries her weight and conditioning well, really striding out with authority here in the paddock. I really like her as one that, yes, maybe she's not as good as the top horses in here, but one that could fill out your exotics, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. Just a Game, named after Peter Brandt's 1980 champion female turf horse. Brandt with 3 runners trying to win this 2022 edition. A pick 4 begins here. And there's one of the 3 Peter Brandt runners. Speak of the Devil, the even money favorite. Won the Grade 2 Distaff Turf Mile in her state's debut. Now looking for Grade 1 glory coming up with Flavian Pratt, who's already on the board with a Grade 1 in the Acorn. We'll be back with a Longines Just a Game next.
The breeding industry is governed by one principle. Performance determines success.
And Constitution has won!
Now, he's earning his stripes by siring stars.
Independence Hall wins the Hagyard Bayette.
Law Professor just in front, and Law Professor. American Revolution, fireworks in the stretch here in the Cigar Mile.
Constitution, a natural-born leader.
The ultimate accolade for a racehorse is to be named Horse of the Year. To be enshrined to the Hall of Fame is to achieve immortality. As a stallion, genetic immortality is defined in 2 words: breed shaper, plain and simple. 2-time Horse of the Year and Hall of Fame inductee, Curlin, is just that. Breed shaper, Curlin, the classic sire.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Great to have you with us on America's Day at the Races on Belmont Stakes Day here in Elmont, New York. Welcome to those just joining us on SNY. We got everybody with us now. Those already watching on FS2, Bally Sports Southern California and San Diego. Thanks for sticking around. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, the rest of the crew with you as well in our second Grade 1 of the afternoon coming up in the Just a Game. Chad Brown sending out 3 in this race.
Yeah, and I think in most likely they'll use an Italian as a pace setter, a pretty talented pace setter. You and I think that the betting may be a little bit wrong here.
We'll get to that in a moment. More speed inside with legs galore, Phil D'Amato.
Yeah, I don't know if you need a pace setter because she is fast. And by the way, pretty cool horse.
6-1 right now. She's 9 for 12 on the grass. Here's Regal Glory. Chad Brown says she's the top turf mare in the country until proven otherwise.
And there's an argument that she could have won this race last year if she didn't blow the brake. She has been sensational, winning in races where things are against her. Not easy to do.
Even money on her stablemate, speak of the devil.
She was very impressive, overcoming a slow pace last time, and she has great European form as well.
Also for Chad Brown and Peter Brandt in Italian.
Listen, I mean, she's 3 for 5 with 2 seconds. She's terrific, but this is a terrific field.
And Wakanaka on the outside, Belmont, Team Valor, Joel Rosario.
She's going to have to hope that something happens to even get second, to be one of two Chad's two-headed monster here. These are unusually good horses. And Regal Glory, it's interesting. You and I approach handicapping in different ways, and not everything, but you look at thoroughgraph figures. I use other things. And you said to me, if this horse stays around 2-1, I'm going to bet her to win. And I said, good, because I'm going to do the same thing. And I mean, she puts herself in position to win. And ever since Saratoga, when she won that Della Rose, when she was wide in a slow-paced race, she has run one terrific race after another one. And I just think she's more reliable. And she beat Shanastara here. It's an exceptional filly for Chad Brown.
She just, like Al Davis used to say, just win, baby. And she does it. 11 for 18 lifetime on the grass. She's won 3 in a row, all graded stakes. Let's go to Acacia for more.
I'm pleased to be joined by trainer Chad Brown, who sends out the 3 big ones in here. Chad, let's start with In Italian, who does seem to be the pace in here. Talk to me a little bit about what you've seen from her.
No, she's never looked better. She's been training great. I think the one horse is pretty quick, too, so it'll be interesting to see who does set the pace in here. But, I just told Irad to just play the break and see how it goes.
The kind of most established in your stable is Regal Glory, coming off of a pretty good start to the year. She is just as consistent as they come.
She really is, and so far she's been the leader of the division in this country, so it's going to take a good horse to beat her. There's obviously a couple good horses in here, so we'll see.
Finally, speak of the devil, who you unveiled last time out at Churchill. She just looks like the quintessential turf miler type.
She's got a wicked turn of foot, like you saw ever at Churchill. And a much tougher field this time to run down some of these horses in here, especially Regal Glory. But she's moved forward since that race, and she's a terrific horse.
I know you're excited about this race, but coming up, you know who I'm going to ask about, Jack Christopher. Inside post, I know, is a little bit of a concern for you.
Yeah, it's a tricky draw, and there's some decent horses in here, especially some speed. So Jose's going to have to decide out the gate there, and he's got a lot of speed. I won't take anything away from him, but it'll be interesting to see down the backside how it shakes out.
An undefeated star in the Woody Stevens. Best of luck later, Chad.
Thank you.
Chad Brown, though, here at Lafitte with 3 major chances.
On the attack with talent and volume, seemingly having him surrounded, Gary, in the Just a Game, and loaded with 3-year-olds. Early voting Preakness winner. Zandon, runner-up in the Kentucky Derby, third in the Kentucky Derby, and Jack Christopher, one of the most exciting thoroughbreds in training, running today in the Woody Stevens.
And he's only a 3-year-old, and is only going to improve. How far will he eventually be able to go? It doesn't matter. He's a great miler. So he's got a great future ahead of him, but he has so much depth, and he knows all of his horses so well. From their training to, and I don't know how he keeps track of all of them. We see he's got 3 out of the 5 in this race here, and you know, it doesn't matter. There was a 7-horse field yesterday, and he had 5 of the 7. Should be noted that the Just a Game here, actually, Peter Brandt, the owner of these horses, he owned actually Just a Game back in the day. So he continues to be a big supporter of Chad Brown, and is paying dividends.
The pride for him to be represented in this Just a Game. Gary, you rode for Wayne Lucas so often, and in cases like Chad Brown in this Just a Game and many other graded stakes races where Lucas would have like multiple runners. How does that change things for a jockey when you have 2, 3, 4 horses for the same trainer in a Grade 1 race? How does that change things for you psychologically and strategically?
Well, a lot of times Wayne would have multiple horses with the exact same running style, and I'm thinking, why is he putting speed against speed? But we see Chad do the same thing, and we never got any specific instructions on what to do. Just go out and ride your own race, ride your own horse, treat them as if they're not part of your team. Obviously, you don't want to do anything stupid and jeopardize your own chances getting hooked up in a speed duel or whatever early on. But we were always told to ride our own race.
What are you seeing out there, Maggie?
Seeing a group of good-looking fillies and mares. Really, everybody doing their part to tout themselves out here on the racetrack. But let's talk about Regal Glory. I think it is a race between her and Speak of the Devil, obviously the 2 Chad Brown horses. We saw Jose Ortiz giving her a brisk warm-up. I mean, he just stopped moving with her out here today. So kind of just reminding that 2, I think she does do her best running when she's close to a pace. Now, the inside runner in here, Legs Galore, she has that advantageous draw being the speed horse. Not that I necessarily like her, but she is sharp. And we see back here at the start of this race, it's actually almost a straightaway for a bit. And that inside horse just kind of has that advantage. They're almost slightly ahead of the rest of the field. So Legs Galore, she will use that to her advantage, but I do think she'll have a tough time dictating things with an Italian breathing down her neck as well. Greg?
Yep, the pace setter for Chad Brown trying to put some heat on Legs Galore. Being dismissed in here, she's 7-1. She's put together a pretty nice resume on the grass. She's facing a couple of monsters in here, though.
No, I know. It's, you know, you almost, I have a lot of respect for Phil D'Amato for coming here and taking him on. And, you know, yesterday in the New York, Vicky Oliver shipped in, but Brendan Walsh shipped in, and with about 50 yards to go, we thought he was going to win it. He finished second. You're not going to beat anybody if you don't run against them and you don't take a shot. And this filly deserves to take a shot against the big girls. And if she doesn't win, nobody holds it against her. There's so much upside. And the notion that everybody says, well, Chad Brown is a stranglehold in this division, fair enough. But he's certainly going to win those races if nobody even tries to beat him.
Got to take a shot. It's a Grade 1 in a 5-horse field, too, to be Grade 1 placed. Have that on your resume?
Oh, are you kidding me? Absolutely. It's huge for her. There's so much upside. And where were they going to run her out in California? What were the spots for? And sometimes there are times where you have to take a shot. It's better to take the shot and lose than not take the shot at all. So much upside. So she's only 7-1. It's not like she's 50-1 here, right?
Regal Glory, she's won 4 of her last 5, 7 of her last 8. She's the second choice in this race, despite just win after win after win, because of the presence of her stablemate, who is the even money favorite. Speak of the Devil, State's debut, Grade 2 victory at Churchill Downs. It's the Just a Game. Let's go to John Imbrial for the call.
And they're off in the long jeans, Just a Game, and Speak of the Devil missed the break and trails the field. Legs Galore out for the early lead along with In Italian. Legs Galore and In Italian hook up here. They are heads apart, and they have opened up 8 lengths on Regal Glory in third. Then Wakanaka in fourth. And Speak of the Devil is the trailer. Speak of the Devil is about 15 lengths or so from front-running Legs Galore, who ran the opening quarter in 22 1/5 seconds. Legs Galore is clear by a length over In Italian. Then it's that big break back to Speak of the Devil, who is on the inside of Regal Glory. Wakanaka is the trailer. The leader is Legs Galore. Legs Galore on top here by a little more than a length, with In Italian running in second. The half, an ambitious 45 2/5 seconds. Legs Galore, In Italian, they are heads apart. They've got 7 lengths on Regal Glory, who's getting closer now in third. Wakanaka's moving up on the outside. Speak of the Devil is the trailer down at the heads. 3/4 went in 1:08 4. And here is In Italian to take over. And here is Regal Glory, who's now kicking in on the outside. In Italian, Regal Glory surges to the front now. Regal Glory in front. Then Wakanaka, and In Italian, it is Regal Glory. Impressive to win the Grade 1. Longines just the game. Wakanaka was second. In Italian finished third. And the mile on the Widener turf in 1 minute, 32 seconds.
An emotional Jose Ortiz. Regal Glory just keeps on winning. She had a lot of work to do to try and get to this pace setter, her stablemate.
I know. As fast as they were going, they come in the stretch, and there's still a lot of distance. And I turned to you and said, Jose hasn't even asked her yet. And, I mean, obviously, the other horse did not show up. Speak of the Devil didn't break, and she ran poorly. That takes nothing away from this horse. I mean, this horse has just been nothing but exceptional. And Peter Brandt was going to retire her. And a couple of years ago, he kept Sister Charlie in training an extra year, and it didn't work out. He could have bred her, he could have got another foal, but he tried because he loves the races, he loves to race them. He could have retired her and bred her, and he kept her in racing. She's got 2 Grade 1 winners, and as Chad Brown said, she's a leader of the division, and she's solidified her position even more with this win.
She has won 7 of her last 9 starts. She is so much fun to watch.
And also, let me say, she races in the memory of Paul Pompa. You know, Paul was a great owner in this game, the original owner of Big Brown as well. He passed away way, way too soon. You know, you couldn't find a person at the racetrack that didn't have good things to say about him. And as Chad Brown said, you know, he'd call up the horse run lousy, and Paul would say to him, how are your kids doing? You know, he was that kind of person. And to see her doing so well, somebody else, but Paul's gone, but it's nice to see her sort of run in his memory.
Yeah, nice to see her continuing to have so much success too, and have him remembered. 7-5, she's the second choice, gets the win. But again, as her trainer, that man right there, shades on. Chad Brown says she is the best turf mare in the country, and she proves it again, Maggie.
She did. They were flying up front, Jose, as you just said. That was very fast. Did you recognize how fast they were going in front of you with the gap that the 2 speed horses put in front?
Yeah, you know, they opened up nicely in the first quarter of a mile. We knew it was going to be a fast pace. The one horse is very fast. And I was sitting in a perfect position the whole way. And when I asked her to go, you know, she does what she always do.
You know her so well. This is your 9th win on her. I believe your 3rd or 4th Grade 1 as well. And we saw you so ecstatic at the line. Big celebration. What does she mean to you?
I think it's a nice filly. She means a lot. She's a runner, and she's getting better with age. And it's always good to see horses stay in training. Yeah. They get a lot better when they're older. And, you know, Peter and Chad deserve all the credit. They keep her on training, knowing that she could be a great broodmare. They keep her on training, and it's paying off. She's doing unbelievable right now.
And she looks to be on a quest for possibly, you know, champion filly and mare turf. Well, Jose, big ride from you, kicking off a big afternoon, we hope.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Jose Ortiz, regular pilot on Regal Glory. They get another Grade 1, guys.
The Glory, all Regal Glories. Things, however, Gary, and Jose Ortiz still fired up after this Grade 1 victory. Did not go as well for Speak of the Devil. Let's go back to the start of the race. Speak of the Devil and Flavia Pratt. Pratt, who just won a Grade 1 Acorn. What happens?
She literally just walked away from the gate, didn't get away in good order at all. She sort of dwelt. at the start, lost contact with the field with this fast pace. Fortunately, for your winner in Italian, she had company. Excuse me,
Regal Glory.
Regal Glory in Italian was keeping legs galore honest up front. She never got a break. The entire trip she was rolling along, and it set things up perfectly for somebody to come and pounce late.
Jose Ortiz, that enthusiasm, it's infectious. And how significant is this, Gary? It's Belmont Stakes Day. He'll be riding the filly Nest in the Belmont Stakes, trying to become the 4th to win the Test of the Champion. A date with Jack Christopher in about an hour in the Woody Stevens to knock down one of these big Grade 1s early on the program.
Look, it takes a lot of pressure off of yourself. You always put pressure on yourself. You really don't notice it until you win a big one. And it's like you got to load off. Okay, whatever happens the rest of the day, I've already got one Grade 1. Let's see if I can go win multiples on the afternoon.
And the filly herself, the performance, what you just saw from Regal Glory, how impressed were you?
I was super impressed. I mean, the way she finished, she did get a great pace to close into. It was a great setup. I think he rode her with a ton of confidence. Just sitting on her, like Andy said, he hadn't even moved on her prior to coming into the stretch.
What a moment for Peter Brandt leading in Regal Glory. Brandt, who, as you mentioned, owned Just a Game, takes down a Just a Game. Regal Glory, sensational, and a Grade 1 victory. Back out to Churchill Downs, sun's out, and the field for the second, with Travis Stone standing by live from Churchill, race number 2.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Irish Hokey, Estío Veronil on the outside. Those two break the best. Estío Veronil up to grab the lead. Irish Hokey backs off into second. Here comes Carmelito advancing from the inside up into second now. Irish Hokey's back into third. Those two reserve chasing Estío Veronil down the backstretch run. 2 more lengths back to Established, who comes away in fourth, and Sky We Trust is fifth. And J.E.'s Hand-Me-Down is the trailer, already 8 lengths off the lead. 4 furlongs from the wire. They move to the far turn. The opening quarter goes in 22 and 4. Sharp pace, Estío Veronil the leader. Irish Hokey coming on with another challenge now, and Established is revving up. Here's Established coming on 3 wide from third. Carmelito's back into fourth, and Sky We Trust and J.E.'s Hand-Me-Down. Rounding the far turn, Irish Hokey comes away with the lead. By the quarter pole in front by 2. Established runs up into second. Carmelito's coming through between horses. Estío Veronil gives way toward the rail, and Sky We Trust switched outside for the final furlong. At the 8th pole, Irish Hokey clear by 2. Established keeps on grinding away, and Sky We Trust is late on the scene too. Irish Hokey's getting desperate. Here's Established. Here's the wire photo. Nose is up and down. Established or Irish Hokey, either one. In Sky We Trust and Carmelito.
Well, Established had that momentum late. Did he get by Irish Hokey? Very close.
Very, very close. Seemed like he got him, but my ability to call photos at Churchill is pathetic. He got him there. I think he got him. It's so hard. It's confusing with the pole right after the finish line, you know? I mean, it just feels like it should be in the middle of the pole or something.
Back at Belmont, Grade 1, Just a Game. Regal Glory, she is a star. Back for her 6-year-old campaign, and she's 3 for 3 now in 2022.
I can't say enough. I mean, for me personally, that's my favorite horse in training. I just love seeing her run because she's done things. She got a great trip here, but she's won races when she hasn't gotten good trips, and that's a very tough thing to do in turf racing. She's an unusual horse, and she's gotten so much better over the last year. And a great win for Peter Brandt as well, having raced Just a Game.
Yeah, so appropriate. Having campaigned that 1980 champion female turf runner. And Regal Glory now 2 Grade 1s and a Grade 3 in a return as a 6-year-old.
And kind of quietly, maybe not even that quietly, because he did win a Triple Crown race. Isn't Jose Ortiz at this point in the conversation for top rider in the country?
He is indeed.
He won an Eclipse, what, 4 years ago about, I think? 4 or 5 years ago? I mean, who's riding better than he is?
And, you know, I know this won't count for this year, but you go back to the Breeders' Cup weekend. I don't know if anybody rode better than him over the entire weekend.
100%. I couldn't possibly agree more. He was more in tune with how the races were being run, dirt and turf, than anybody on the ground. I'd forgotten that. I completely agree with you.
$4.80, Regal Glory, Chad Brown, Peter Brandt, and Jose Ortiz with a Grade 1 win in the Just a Game. Let's go to Acacia.
Very pleased to be joined by winning owner Peter Brandt. And Peter, first of all, the Just a Game, named for a horse that you campaigned. How special is it winning?
Very special, very special. And, she was a great mare and was a champion, and really so nice to have a race named after her. And it's great to have the honor of winning this race.
Regal Glory, a 6-year-old now, and it just seems like she's better than ever.
Yeah, she loves racing, and we were going to retire her at the end of 5. She had that big victory in Florida, and then she ran so well, and we were going to send her back to Claiborne Farm to have her do the year there, and we just decided that she's just doing too well, so we kept her in training. She's a lovely mare.
A terrific performance today. Talk me through your thoughts on her pulling away from the rest of that field.
Well, she ran really, really well, and in Italian ran really well too. She was game to be on the get the lead, and I'm so happy to win this race. Regal Glory is a very, very special mare.
A special mare and a special win, Peter. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Peter Brandt with Regal Glory, and for the fans, getting a chance to see this mare back at the age of 6, certainly a big opportunity, Greg.
Yeah, we're all lucky to have her back. Great sportsman. Peter Brandt went away from the game for quite some time, and wow, since he has come back, just tremendous success teaming up with Chad Brown as we move into the Marathon Dirt division, and a horse who has been the absolute dominant player in that division. Lone Rock returns in the Brooklyn.
His performance in the Brooklyn last year was almost jaw-dropping, the way he ran away from the field. And it's really what signified that he was a major player in this division. He is meeting some very talented horses. Max Player, if he gets back to the Gold Cup. Obviously, his return was a disappointment. Warrant's very talented. The horse on the outside, Fearless, very good, but what none of them has done is shown they can be effective at 12 furlongs, and we know what Lone Rock can do at this distance.
This is his specialty, 5 for 6 in his career. It's only defeat a runner-up finish when he was against the track. Established back at Churchill, does get this win in a photo finish, getting by Irish Hokey. $4.80 for the victory. Richard Baltus, Francisco Arrieta, and Michael and Julia Ivorone with his 5-year-old son of Constitution. Kenny McPeak, he did it 20 years ago with the biggest upset in Belmont Stakes history with Sarava. He'll look to do it again with Creative Minister, who is really improving, coming off a 3rd-place finish in the Preakness.
Following C. Pouring it on here in the stretch. Impressive to win the Grade 2 Vosburg. Following C.
Smile Happy has kicked it into high gear, and Smile Happy with a powerful performance wins by 2.5.
The Clutch champion Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Sarava has come on through to take the lead, and War Emblem has given way. No Triple Crown for the 24th year. Here comes Sarava and Medaglia d'Oro, those striding to the line together. Sarava on the outside, Medaglia d'Oro toward the rail. They're coming down to the finish. A huge upset is looming here under the line. Sarava has won.
Well, at one point in April, Kenny McPeek had maybe the two leading contenders for the Kentucky Derby in Harlan's Holiday and Repent. It winds up being a 70-1 shot. Sarava making noise in the Triple Crown, the biggest upset in the history of the race.
It's amazing. He had two awful trips, and then he went on Preakness Day and ran the Sir Barton, and he was second choice. There was a very expensive Shah Jahan horse that Wayne Lucas had, and he dusted him and won for fun, but it didn't look like he was going to be competitive with these kind of horses. And what happened? He was more than competitive.
Unreal. What an upset. 20 years later, we see the second biggest upset in Kentucky Derby history with Rich Strike. Let's get back to Kenny McPeek now. Creative minister. He didn't start his career on the racetrack till March 5th of this year. He just ran third behind two of the best 3-year-olds in the country in the Preakness.
He did, and this is his win at Churchill Downs. Don't be confused to see Klarovich. I think it's early voting in front. That was another horse, and he got a great ride from Brian Hernandez, sitting inside, taking some dirt, moving out, and just exploded by. And what you have to like about him is that he runs faster figures every time he runs. And the other thing I'm rooting for, honestly, he's the only horse in this race that ran at Churchill Downs on Derby Day, at Pimlico on Preakness Day, and now running the Derby.
It's interesting you bring that up because his owner actually wanted to run on the Pate Mile. Kenny McPeek said, I'll tell you what, let's run in this other spot. If he wins, if they write a race for you on the moon, we'll go to that one.
Kenny would go to the moon. I mean, I have no doubt. Kenny is not afraid to go anywhere. I'm looking forward to seeing Tiz the Bomb, who's pointing to the Belmont Derby, by the way, for Kenny. But I like this horse. He has tactical speed. He can get the right trip in here. I'm a little worried about the way the rail has been playing. But if he can handle the distance, a question for all of these horses, then I think he has a big chance at a square price.
Right near his morning line. He's 7-1 right now. It's still Mo Donegal who's the favorite for the 154th running of the Belmont Stakes presented by Naira Bets. Let's go live for the first time today to Paul Aduca. Paul, your thoughts on the Belmont?
Well, I promise you that money on Mo Donegal hasn't been mine yet, as I do like Mo Donegal to win the Belmont Stakes today. And the reason why, Greg, I kept looking over and over in this race. I'm going to try a new handicapping concept here. Let's draw a line through the last race, the Kentucky Derby and the Peter Pan. If you look at We the People and you look at Rich Strike, they basically ran out of their skin compared to their last start. So is there going to be a regression for both of those horses? If you draw a line through Mo Donegal's last start at the Kentucky Derby, pretty darn consistent, winning the Wood Memorial and obviously beating a nice colt in early voting who won the Preakness Stake. We know that now. He's really shown up in almost all of his events. He's 3 for 6 lifetime. The other thing about him too is he's not a great gate horse, but in 5 out of those 6 starts, Greg, he's drawn the inside. The one time he did draw an outer post was his maiden race, and listen, he was just better than that field. If he can get out of the gate and step out of the gate a little bit better today and get positional speed, I really truly think, obviously with Todd Pletcher and this horse in his backyard, will win his 4th Belmont today with Mo Donegal.
Meanwhile, Paul, we got this third at Churchill coming up. Condition claiming race, 7/8 of a mile. Who do you like here?
Well, when I look at this race, guys, you know, the 2 Montgomery Park for Cipriano Contreras, Francisco Arrieta, who just won the last race, looking for a double on the race card. Is getting the sneaky action on the board and looks like maybe the horse to catch. But I'm in love with the 6-8 night for Steve Asmussen. We saw Jackie's Warrior dominate yesterday in a canter type of fashion at Belmont Park. That was so impressive. But 8 night for Steve Asmussen. This is a horse that won at 3 to 5, I get it, but then drops from 25 down to 10. Really going to be tough to beat. I hate to give you the favorite at 6 to 5, guys, but I do think race number 3 is 2-6 or 6-2.
All right, Paulie, thanks. We'll get out there live to this one in a moment. He is a horse coming in from Oaklawn. We see some of these Oaklawn shippers struggle a little bit under the Twin Spires at Louisville. We'll get back to Belmont as well. Great crowd on hand for the first time on Belmont Stakes Day since 2019 because of COVID. Feels good to have everybody back. And here is the best marathon runner on dirt in the country, Lone Rock. Can he do it again in the Brooklyn? We'll have it for you live next.
Maximum Security proves he's the real deal with a gate-to-wire win in the Florida Derby.
Champion 3-year-old.
Maximum Security has won the TVG.com Haskell Invitational.
11 triple-digit buyers.
Maximum Security. He smoked them in the Cigar Mile.
Grade 1 winning 4-year-old.
Maximum Security takes them all the way in the TVG Pacific Classic.
Secure your mare's future. Maximum Security.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
Monmouth Park's newest featured race day is Haskell Preview Day, Saturday, June 18th. Wager on the TVG.com Pegasus for 3-year-olds, plus 3 graded stakes, all on the road to Haskell Day, Saturday, July 23rd. Win early and often by playing our 50-cent Win Early Pick 5. First post, 12:15 Eastern. Racing's biggest stars prep for the Jersey Shore's biggest race on Haskell Preview Day at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, brought to you as always. Best racing for the love of the race. Visit America's Best Racing.
Apologize, some technical difficulties there with Acacia. We'll try and get back to her in a moment. You're watching America's Day at the Races on various networks across the country. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. On this race last year, I mean, this was the coming out party for Lone Rock, winning by 11 plus lengths in this race. He was virtually unbeatable at longer distances.
He really was. You know, I know people will look, and he lost to Locally Owned, who's in this race, and actually for the same connections. But that day, Locally Owned came up a very, very strong rail, and Lone Rock stayed out in the middle of the racetrack. And to be fair, Lone Rock really did run the better race, and the only other blemish on his record is when they tried to go shorter in a very tough spot, the Razorback. He's a horse that relishes these distances, and he has flourished in these spots.
There he is, the 9-5 favorite, the 7-year-old. He does not seem to have lost a step at these 1.5-mile races. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
And Lone Rock is absolutely wonderful. He looks a picture here in the paddock, but going to take a look at 2 horses who have yet to try quite this far in their careers. Now, we'll take a look at number 2, Max Blair, who had his best races on the Naira circuit last year. Also, his previous jockey, Ricardo Santana, did a great job of keeping him closer to the pace. So I kind of get it. His last 2 efforts have not been good, and it's when he's kind of failed to get out of the gate cleanly. So I think getting more distance mitigates that a bit. He can find his stride a bit more effectively. And in the paddock today, he is very sharp. This is the sharpest I've ever seen this horse. I don't love that, trying a longer distance, but I do think it's noticeable that he appreciates Belmont or the Naira surfaces, because since shipping here, he's put in at least one good work back on May 30th, and I do think he is a horse that likes New York. Number 3, Warrant. Based upon his Ben Ali, you wouldn't think he'd want to go this far, but looking at him physically, this son of Constitution, he actually does look as though 1.5 miles should suit him down to the ground. He has a great laid-back disposition, very tall, lanky horse. Fits the billing perfectly here today for trainer Brad Cox, looking for another graded stakes victory to the record on this Belmont Stakes undercard. But I like what I'm seeing from Warrant. Same thing goes with number 7, Fearless, another horse yet to try this distance, but physically is built for it. And 2, the last time I saw him at Oaklawn, which he actually ran respectively well, but it was a weird effort in that he looked to be in position throughout. Maybe he was wide, but I do think that he was a bit distracted that day. You know, he kind of ran on again when the horse came to him, and he was acting just distracted before the race in the preliminaries. Now he gets to run out of his own stall. He's laser focused today for Todd Pletcher, who, as we have said repeatedly on this show, you want no other trainer in your corner other than Todd Pletcher when trying to get these distances. Guys?
Well, he'll have to try and do it against a horse who has dominated, however, this division over the last year. It's the 7-year-old Lone Rock, trying to remain the top dog here at 1.5 miles and beyond. The Grade 2 Brooklyn next when we come back on America's Day at the Races.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races on FS2 and various other networks across the country. Thanks for being with us. Bet $100 on Belmont races 1 through 5. And you get a bonus. Opt in your account there. NyraBets.com. Coming onto the track for the Grade 2 Brooklyn, 1.5 miles, and the horse who has not just been the leader of this division, he has dominated it. He essentially won the Breeders' Cup equivalent on this day. They don't have a Breeders' Cup race for the division, but he won it on that weekend.
Yeah, and he's the established horse. Everybody else, and there's some very good horses near. He might not even be the best, most talented horse in the race, but he's the most talented horse we've seen go this distance, and that matters a lot.
Max Player, we saw him last summer. He was a Grade 1 winner of the Jockey Club Gold Cup at 1.25 miles.
And listen, he ran great in those races. His return race was awful, but we know he has some good horse in him somewhere.
Brad Cox sends out Warrant.
I picked him as a slight upsetter over Lone Rock in this race because I think he is very, very good, and I thought he ran well last time, but I don't know if he can get it done in this situation. And I'll bet 5-1. I'll take it, though.
Todd Pletcher's going to send out a trio of runners. Here's the first of them, Portos.
Yeah, I mean, Portos ran fine last time, but he's meeting a much tougher group here.
11-1, Irad Ortiz Jr. will be aboard. First Constitution, another Todd Pletcher horse. He won at 1 3/8 last start here at Belmont.
And he ran off, and he still won the race. I didn't like him before, but he is the controlling speed in this race, and he may be able to wire on this racetrack.
Locally owned, he beat Lone Rock, again with a bit of a track bias.
Got a great ride from Dylan Davis, staying on the inside. Maybe he'll try to do it again today.
And Fearless, the third of the three for Todd Pletcher. Luis Saez rides.
He's a very talented horse. We don't know if he can go this far. And I wonder, he's making his 16th start. He's never run at an Ira track. I don't know if that's a bad thing. It just thought it was kind of curious.
For Mike Rapoli, who again is going to have 2 chances at his first Belmont Stakes win later today. Let's go to Acacia Clement.
Very pleased to be joined by Stephen Panis, president of America's Best Racing, as we'll try again with this interview, Stephen, from our vantage point up here outside. First of all, tell us a little bit about some of the new things happening at ABR.
So we got about 30 influencers and media personalities out here today, younger generation folk that we're hosting, and meeting our mission, which is bringing the next generation of fans into the great sport of thoroughbred racing. So we're excited, and things are going great as we wrap up the Triple Crown.
No, we appreciate your support of our show. Tell me a little bit about your partnership with Belmont and everything that's going on with your support of horse racing.
Yeah, so the NYRA Jockey Club, America's Best Racing Partnership, is very integral to growing the game. It gives us multi-channels, platforms to bring those new fans in. And obviously when we turn the corner from Belmont to Saratoga, there's no better place to take a new fan than Saratoga. So we're already looking forward to summer.
Now, some people may know you lost your son Jake in a tragic accident, and you're paying tribute to his legacy in a beautiful way with the Jake Panis Walk-On Scholarship. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Jake's way to live and his personality was to lift people up. And so when it happened, we thought, what would Jake want? And so we created 2 scholarship funds, one at South Carolina, the University of South Carolina, where Jake wanted to attend, and the other in South Dakota, where Jake took a mission trip to help the young children from Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, one of the poorest areas in the country. And so we've handed out 3 scholarships in the first year, and we look forward to handing out many more and continuing Jake's legacy of lifting up others.
Such an amazing way to pay tribute. Stephen, thanks for all that you do, and we hope you have a wonderful Belmont Stakes.
Thank you, Acacia. Take care.
Stephen Panis from America's Best Racing. Lafitte, though, we have more graded stakes action coming up.
What Stephen has had to endure, Acacia, but the memory, the legacy of his son Jake lives on. It's a clumsy shift back to the live racing, Gary Stevens, but they are warming up for this. 1.5 miles Brooklyn, 4 of the jockeys riding, kind of a test drive that they'll be riding in the Belmont Stakes later at 1.5 miles. You're looking at number 3 here, Warrant, and jockey Flavian Pratt took down the Acorn about an hour ago. Let's go back to his Santa Anita handicap, Gary, and what he showed you on that afternoon. Such a determined runner-up effort to express train.
Yeah, and this horse is very, very versatile. He's never been 1.5 miles before, but I trust in Brad Cox. I mean, if he feels like he can get the 1.5 miles, Brad one day will join the Hall of Fame. I'm convinced of that. And this horse has no quit in him. He gets beat a close one here in the Santa Anita handicap, but he's a horse, he doesn't need the lead. He sits, he can stalk just off the pace. He's shown that versatility. And that Santa Anita handicap, he got a huge speed figure as compared to most of these in this race. I like him in here.
The no-show in the Ben Ali is a concern. That is a concern, what he did in his next race. As for Lone Rock, look, the talent in this Brooklyn is tougher than it was last year when he won this race, first and foremost. But how much of an advantage is it for jockey Ramon Vasquez in that for Lone Rock, multi-dimensional, he doesn't need to be in front in order to be effective?
No, he doesn't. But I don't like the one draw for him being with their other speed in here. He does not need the lead. Obviously, he's won from just off of the pace. He's done it on multiple occasions. He actually won going 1.8 miles, which is out of his wheelhouse at Oaklawn Park. His numbers haven't been near as big in his last couple of races as what he is capable of doing. But He loves this racetrack. He loves a mile and a half. To me, he's the best marathon horse in the United States.
He looks good to me, but what do I know? Maggie, what are you seeing?
He does. He looks sensational, guys. And obviously very close with his owner, Jay Provenzano. Obviously, this guy, Lone Rock, owned by Flying Partners, and Jay owning my husband's locally owned as well. But talking with Jay, you know, when the field came out for this and Lone Rock drew the one, he was a horse, Jay said, we are going to try to go to the lead. Now, whether that's what Ramon Vasquez executes when they spring the latch, you know, is yet to be seen. But Jay does want this horse forwardly placed, and two, to take advantage of that inside post position. You know, he's such a cool dude. And Jay talking about his training, that Robertino Diodoro just lets this guy come out. He says they need about 45 minutes for him. He stands for about 20 of those, and then he gets on his way in his kind of leisurely long gallop, and it just kind of speaks to him and why he's been so successful at these distances. Watch his stride when he comes through the lane. He has this extra bounce and extra length to his stride. He's very unique, and I think that's what makes him so good at these marathon distances, Greg.
3-2, there he is, Lone Rock, 16 wins in a brilliant career, these marathon distances, but this is a tougher group, no question.
Does he have a jetpack? Because that's what he's going to need to have a lead in this race. I know people will see that he's been on the pace in some races. First Constitution is very quick, and I have to think he's going to outrun him, and I honestly, I think Max Player's faster than he is. We'll see how it plays out, and intention is very important. I hope that Ramon Vasquez learns from his ride on Dream Lith earlier, because she had the rail and could have stayed there, and he got her the three-path way too soon. I hope that he's learned from that. Now, listen, the track could change as the racing gets more competitive. Perhaps we'll find the track is more fair. I don't want to just make a brash conclusion, but he needs to stay on the rail if possible, at least based on what we've seen so far.
And look, maybe he learned too. I mean, that when he got beat, as you talked about, there was a confirmed bias that day.
No question, and he was out in the middle of the racetrack. And Dylan took advantage of it. So not only was he against the bias, but the winner was with it. And that explains that upset by his stablemate. And he was 10 cents the dollar that day.
Perhaps lessons learned. We will see. Lone Rock, 7-5 favorite, trying to repeat in the Grade 2 Brooklyn when he looked so sensational last year. For Robertino Diodoro, we're set. Let's go upstairs. John Imbrial, the call.
Waiting for First Constitution. Locally owned and fearless. Set for the start. And they're off. Bit of a bobble at the start for Warrant. Lone Rock going for the lead from the inside post is First Constitution. Now moves up. First Constitution grabs the lead. Lone Rock is running in second. And then it is Warrant and Fearless. They're right together. The gray Portos is down at the rail. Then comes Max Player. And Locally Owned will be the early trailer in seventh as they race around the clubhouse turn. First Constitution is first here, leading by a little more than a length, and a bit tough to handle there. May have taken an awkward step. First Constitution is the leader. Lone Rock has moved to his outside now. Portos is down at the rail. Fearless on the outside. Warrant in between horses. Then comes Max Player, who's 7 lengths from the front. And trailing the field and well behind the field is a Locally Owned. First quarter went in 24 and 4/5 seconds. First Constitution is the leader here by a half length, with the favorite Lone Rock on the outside in second. Opening half mile in 50 seconds. Portos and Fearless right together third and fourth. Warrant and Max Player, those two are right together. And it's 4 or 5 lengths back to the trailer Locally Owned. As First Constitution continues to show the way midway up the backstretch, it is First Constitution on top by 3/4 of a length. Ran 3/4 in 1:15. It is First Constitution over Lone Rock and Fearless on the outside. Portis is down at the rail. And now there's 5 furlongs remaining. It is First Constitution with the lead over Lone Rock. Fearless on the outside, Portis at the rail, then Warrant and Max Player, and farther back it is locally owned. Positions unchanged in this 1.5 Brooklyn, and now they're midway around the far turn. First Constitution over Lone Rock and Fearless. The mile in 1:39 and 2. First Constitution with Lone Rock and Fearless. Fearless has moved up on the outside. In between horses is Lone Rock, and now it's 3 of them across the track for the lead as they come for the top of the stretch. Fearless on the outside, Lone Rock in between. First Constitution down at the rail. Warrant is running in fourth. Then Max Player and Portos, and Fearless has now taken over. It is Fearless in front at the furlong marker. Fearless is the leader. Lone Rock runs in second. Then First Constitution and Warrant. They're coming on for the finish, and it's going to be Fearless and Luis Saez to win the 133rd running of the Brooklyn Stakes.
Fearless, Luis Saez, Todd Pletcher, Rapoli stable in the Grade 2 Brooklyn.
Maybe he should have been racing more in New York. This was a terrific performance. Maybe the track has changed. If the track hasn't changed, this horse ran exceptionally well because he was wide the entire way around the racetrack. Lone Rock, the rider took him off the inside, but it didn't matter. This horse ran better than him. You know, he was wider, so if you think there's a bias, and there still is, this horse just ran better. This was a very strong win for him. I got to tell you, I did not like this horse. I thought that the distance a question, and I wondered why he didn't run in New York. Now I'm wondering why he didn't run here more often. It's a very good performance.
Much the best effort. 7-2 for Fearless. Warrant, Lone Rock, second and third. We have not seen Lone Rock not have a response in the stretch at this kind of distance.
Yeah, this was a disappointing effort by him. I don't know why this rider keeps going off the rail. He's obviously not paying attention the way he should. That's not to say he was going to win, but...
went to his knees a bit out of the gate, not a great start.
You know something? Maybe he just lost to a better horse. I mean, at the end of the day, Fearless is an absolutely, extremely deserving winner of this race. He ran very well to win.
Let's go to Maggie on horseback.
Here with a winning rider, Luis Saez, who has been aboard Fearless in the past. Actually, last time he won in the Ghost Zapper down at Gulfstream Park. Louis, was there any indication ever with you riding this guy in the past that he wanted to go this distance?
Oh, definitely. We know he always be asking for more distance and more distance. Today, this one was perfect for him. That's his type of race, and, well, I feel very comfortable with him, very happy because I couldn't ride it last time, but I understand him a lot, so it's a good horse, and he always tries so hard, and, well, I like to be on.
Louis, he seems like a horse that can kind of get distracted, can kind of lose his focus a little bit at times. What do you do as a rider to keep him engaged?
Well, that's why I think I know him, because he's team with him, and you gotta be on top of him all the way. If you let him be by himself, he just stay there and he don't give you that kick. But I start riding from the half a mile, and he keep running. So today he beat a nice horse. So I'm very glad to be a part of this amazing team.
Yeah, Mike Rapoli, Todd Pletcher, they know how to get these horses to the winner's circle, these distance horses. Congratulations, Louis.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Thanks.
And that is your Belmont Stakes winning rider from last year. Certainly has the experience going the 1.5 mile distance, Lafitte.
Yeah, Maggie, something tells me Mike Rapoli is going to be a little bit more emphatic about this one than Todd Pletcher or Luis Saez. The victory here in the Brooklyn. Stretching out Fearless. Gary, what worked for Fearless and Luis Saez? What went wrong for Lone Rock and Ramon Vasquez?
Lone Rock was just purely outrun on the day. I'm glad that we just saw this race play out the way we did because I don't see a bias any longer. Fearless was about 4 or 5 wide going into the first turn. He continued wide. He ran down the middle of the track all the way through the stretch. He flat out ran these horses. Warrant came from well off the pace to come and nail Lone Rock. He was out off the rail as well. So I at least going 1.5 miles. I don't see a bias right now, and that plays for a better Belmont coming forward later on this afternoon.
How surprised were you when Fearless and Lone Rock were essentially shoulder to shoulder? And you could tell at that point Lone Rock was in deep water and Fearless was traveling best.
I'm going to give credit to Luis Saez because Lone Rock is a fighter. I thought that we were in for a showdown coming off of the turn, but he eked out a half a length and stayed after Fearless. Lone Rock, Ramon was he was riding viciously, you know, the last 3/16 of a mile, and he just flat couldn't stay with Fearless.
Entering the winner's circle in this Brooklyn, Luis Saez, as Maggie mentioned, last year's Belmont Stakes winning jockey, Essential Quality, last summer's champion jockey at Saratoga. And for this guy in Fearless and owner Mike Rapoli, could be a big, big afternoon. Co-owner Ness, the filly in the Belmont Stakes, co-owner Mo Donegal in the Belmont Stakes. We'll have those results shortly. Reaction following this Brooklyn. We go back to Churchill Downs. Our Saturday program continues. The third race just moments ago on tape. Travis Stone with the call, third from Churchill Downs.
And they're off. Awkward start for CV Thunder. Good start for Adenike. Beauty Days there to the outside. Montgomery Park is not far behind either. And Diamond Lydia Marie comes through toward the rail. Out of the chute down to the main track. And Diamond Lydia Marie steps out now. Opens up to lead by 2. Now it's 2.5. Montgomery Park backs off into second. Adenike is on the move. Third and now seconded outside. A margin of 5 from there. Back to Field Daisy, who comes on to grab fourth. Beauty Days racing in fifth, CV Thunder and her Giant at the back. So down the backstretch run, 4 furlongs to go. Diamond Lydia Marie through an opening quarter in a sharp 22-1. Skitters clear by 2.5 on the far turn. Adenike is on the chase from second and inching forward with 3 furlongs to go. Diamond Lydia Marie, the leader by 2. Adenike on the outside second, now just a length behind. 5 lengths back to Field Daisy as they come for the top of the stretch. Diamond Lydia Marie turning for home. Corrales takes a peek back to see Adenike coming on. And here's Adenike now shaken up right outside the 8th pole, and they grab the lead. It's Adenike to the front. Diamond Lydia Marie fights on, but is back into second as Adenike is opening up to the wire. Adenike clear by 4 lengths in the end. Diamond Lydia Marie settles for second. Field Daisy was third, and Beauty Day finished fourth.
Adenike, Steve Asmussen, Rafael Bejarano, owned by the winningest trainer in North American history as well. $3.80 for the win. Odds-on winner who now wins for the third time in 16 career starts. We have another Grade 1 coming up here in New York, and one of the top 3-year-olds in the country. Some believe maybe the best 3-year-old in the country. Paul, your thoughts on Jack Christopher?
Well, he's obviously very talented. He reminds me a lot of his stablemate, Early Voting. He sort of puts himself in the right position because of his natural early speed, and he sort of draws a wicked spot with Papa Cap to the outside of him, because last time Papa Cap was able to get the lead, but Jack Christopher was able to lay outside of him the time before and was able to go right on by. I don't think it's going to make a difference. And Jack Christopher and maybe Papa Cap get away from this group anyway, and then Jose Ortiz can maybe back off and then go around. I actually truly think Jack Christopher could just go to the front end and blaze and go very, very fast. But you obviously want to be careful you don't get in a speed duel. I mean, I honestly think he's the one to beat and is going to win this race. So how do you create value in the race? I do think it's between the 3 and the 4, Witt and Morello. Now, you know, Morello is a horse that has not lost around one turn. Tried the Wood Memorial, did not run well. You get Joel Rosario, Steve Asmussen. Horse has been running well of late here at Churchill Downs, and I think a very, very, ambitious spot to go here in the Woody Stevens with Morello. Has been training very well. And when you look down, the slower the works for Steve Asmussen, the more dangerous. I just can't trust Witt, a horse that's had issues at the gate, did do a lot better last time, but I really do think the one Jack Christopher is the one to beat. I'm going to go 1-4 in the Woody Stevens, and I do think he's a special horse. As the race number 4 here at Churchill Downs, we are off the turf. Marty McGee tweeted out earlier, the turf racing at Churchill Downs has been suspended till July 2nd. So race number 4 here, we got a 4-horse field, guys. The 14 for Brad Cox, the also elbow, is going to be very tough to beat Patna.
All right, Paul, thank you. Back here at Belmont, Luis Saez won the Belmont Stakes last year on Essential Quality. His breakthrough win in a Triple Crown event after being DQ'd in a Kentucky Derby on Maximum Security. Gets the win on Fearless in the Brooklyn on Belmont Stakes Day.
Yeah, nice to see him get the win. And, you know, it's been a tough day so far for the Connections, having some short-priced horses with sort of wide trips not perform that well. But Fearless really made up for it. This is a big win for him. An excellent performance.
Is this his path going forward, these marathon dirt races?
It's a very good question. I mean, it's not as though he hasn't shown he can be effective in some pretty good races going shorter, but it does open up a whole new avenue of races for them. And I think they'll have to decide where to run him depending on what spots they are. He's not going to beat the very best horse in racing, but he showed he can perform when the best horse is going long.
Jack Christopher, one of the stars of this 3-year-old division, went to the sidelines after his Champagne win as a 2-year-old, returned to the Pat Day Mile on Derby Day. Looked very, very good. He is undefeated, perfect 3 for 3. And now he is the odds-on heavy favorite in the Grade 1 Woody Stevens, the eventual goal to try and get to the Travers this summer for trainer Chad Brown. We'll be back with our third of 3 Grade 1s next on America's Day at the Races.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe. And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring. With his biggest and best quality of books in the pipeline, the sun shines bright on this value sire. Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
These folks, they aren't the unsung heroes, they are the heroes of our industry, and it's great to be part of an event that recognizes them for all they do for our game. Without them, we really wouldn't have the sport or the industry that we have.
So many of these people that are receiving these awards today have worked so hard, and you know, I think they should all be very pleased to even be a nominee to this thing because they're chosen by their peers.
And Global Campaign will win the Grade 1 Woodward.
It is Global Campaign holding on to the lead. Global Campaign won the Peter Pan.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Belmont Stakes Saturday at Belmont Park. Welcome back, everyone. America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. About to be joined by a gentleman who cooks unusually well. Less than 5 hours to the Belmont Stakes. Field and updated odds, 8 of them, 3-year-olds. Mile and a half. The morning line favorite, 2-1. Up there at 6-1. We the People, co-owned by Windstar Farm. Co-owned by Bobby Flay, who joins us in the paddock. Bobby, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thank you so much. Really great to be here. Good day here at Belmont Park.
Could be a great day for you at Belmont Park. Did you catch what the anniversary is, though?
The anniversary is what?
6 years ago.
Yeah.
June 11th, you won your first Belmont Stakes in a very similar scenario.
Yes, exactly.
You bought into Windstar with Creator. Things worked out nicely that day. What do you remember most about that afternoon?
Well, I mean, it was a huge surprise. I loved Creator. I loved his race in the Arkansas Derby, and you know, I loved the people at Windstar. You know, Elliot Walden and Kenny and Lisa Trout are just really great people, and you know, it was just one of those things where we had a conversation, and I got to kind of go along for the ride, so to speak. You know, I take no credit for anything that Creator did in a positive way, that's for sure. But it was a really fun day, and I think he was 17-1, so we bet also.
That's always it makes it that much
Exactly.
better. 6 years ago today. So now it's We the People. What's going on in the wagering? What's he doing up there at 6-1.
I mean, you know, that's okay with me. I thought that before the morning line came out that he'd probably be the second favorite, maybe to Mo Donegal, maybe third favorite. But I was surprised that he was the favorite. But when you look at the race, I understand why they might have done that, only because he seems on paper at least, and you know, they don't run these races on paper, but on paper he's the sort of lone speed. I'm sure that's not going to happen when the race begins, but we'll see what happens.
We the people, how confident? Do you get more nervous? How confident are you emotionally? What are these big days like for you?
Well, the Belmont Day is usually always the same. I bring about 20 or 25 people racing on this day. I just finished cooking brunch at my house for everybody, so that we could.
How was it?
We could be nourished. I'll give it an 8, and 7.5, 8, and then we get in cars and we come out here. You know, when we have a great day at Belmont Park. It's I'm not nervous quite yet, but when they start going in the gates, I'll definitely feel it.
I remember I was right next to you when Pizza Bianca won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf at Del Mar this past fall. Next stop for her, Royal Ascot. How excited are you about going back there with her?
Yeah, that's next week. I mean, this has been. I have to say, it's been hard sleeping this week, Lafitte. Just having interest in the Belmont Stakes and then going to Ascot and running in the Coronation Stakes with a homebred, Pizza Bianca. It's a great week of racing for sure.
Pizza Bianca, and thinking back to that win in the Breeders' Cup, what that meant. You're second in the Juvenile Fillies Turf, but a first Breeders' Cup win for trainer Christophe Clement.
I mean, look, I have very little to do with his success in terms of the Breeders' Cup. Christophe is one of the great trainers in the world, and it was just one of those things. Like I was trying to explain it to, like, if you watch golf, they'll talk about like the best player never to win a major. There's always that one person who's a great golfer that hasn't won a major, and I looked at Christophe in the same way. Amazing world-class trainer, had never won a Breeders' Cup. And so, when Pizza Bianca was able to win, I was really happy for him, because he deserves it so much.
As always, thanks so much for taking the time. Best of luck this afternoon, and have a great trip to Royal Ascot.
Always good to see you. Great suit, too.
Pleasure. See, yeah, I contacted his stylist, who wore it better. No, please don't go there. Don't add us at Twitter. Bobby Flay joining us here at Belmont Park, and that trainer right there who owned the Belmont Stakes in the 80s, Woody Stevens with Creme Fraiche. 5 straight Belmont victories, a record never to be broken. The Woody Stevens is next.
Level of racing that he's achieved is extremely rare. Anybody who's witnessed Matoli running sees a level of ability that doesn't come along that often.
Matoli's a monster! Matoli wins the sprint! Oh, what a horse he is! Matoli, he did it again! Wins the mid-mile!
The only thing to be better than one Matoli's a few Matolis.
The mighty Matoli, who won the Fargo by 3.5 lengths, the new stakes record.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races on Belmont Stakes Day. We are proudly brought to you by Run Happy, who proudly stands in stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm. Well, we have horses in the paddock for today's Grade 1 Woody Stevens, the 3-year-old colts, as they will contest over the 7 furlongs. And we see the return to the NYRA circuit of Jack Christopher, who put everybody to bed last time out in his 3-year-old return to the races in the Pat Day Mile. But I'm going to take a look at another horse, 2 horses in here, actually both going out for Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen. Morello, he was very good until things went awry in the Wood Memorial, got away very tardily, kind of half stumbling too, came out with a minor setback that day, but will return at a distance that suits him down to the ground. Comes back fit, and if anything, he's kind of blown up since they put the tack on him. Love to see when horses do that. And then a horse that I've been chasing a bit is Chasing Time. I loved him turning back in the Grade 3 Chick Lang, but that track at Pimlico that day was speed favoring. We'll see if that plays out to be the case again here this time around, but we're adding blinkers here for this son of Not This Time, and I think the 7 furlongs fits him perfectly. I love the way he's turned out. He is a lot more relaxed today than the last time I saw him at Oaklawn Park. Just a shortcut blinker being applied by Steve Asmussen and his New York assistant Toby Sheets. Well, we'll have more on this field, including a post parade when we return on the other side of this break.
Idol perfectly timed. Idol gets up under Joel Rosario to win the big gap. It's known agenda for St. Elias Stable.
Race Adler, a scintillating performance in the TVG Del Mar debutant.
And Clariere will win the cotillion.
Down to the wire. Who's going to win it? It's Mala by a neck.
Curling, the classic sire.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously everyone. We're off to the races, and it's you for the win. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, one more, dance floor. Who needs skill when you have style? And feeling like it's the best time ever? Smile. Abs, craps, and nightcaps? Yes. Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
Following C, pouring it on here in the stretch. Impressive to win the Grade 2 Vosburg. Following C, Smile Happy has kicked it into high gear, and Smile Happy with a powerful performance wins by 2.5.
The Club champion Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Monmouth Park's summer season rolls on with live racing action Friday through Sunday. Fridays feature a 2 p.m. first post, while weekend action begins at 12:15, kicking off the Win Early Pick 5. Home to full competitive fields and big paydays, Monmouth Park continues to prove itself as a place to profit. New for 2022, on-site customers can lock in odds with fixed odds wagering at Monmouth Park Racetrack.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races, and there he is, the undefeated Jack Christopher. For trainer Chad Brown, Jose Ortiz will ride, winner of the Champagne here in New York, and of course the Pat Day Mile on his 3-year-old return.
He's just an exceptional racehorse. He's run really terrific every single time he runs, and there is an argument that he was going to win the Breeders' Cup. He would have been favored in there. Judging by the way horses have run out of that Breeders' Cup, maybe he was lucky not to be in there.
Maybe.
The winner just worked the other day, actually.
He did. Corniche on the comeback trail. Here's his Pat Day Mile return as a 3-year-old. Looks like he's the same horse when we saw him as a 2-year-old.
Right. You have some issues. You come back 7 months after he last ran. You run it a mile, and you just crush a field and run a 98 buyer. And it stands to reason that he's going to improve from there. He ran a 102 in the Champagne, and he might be the most talented 3-year-old. The question for Chad Brown is, at what distance? I mean, part of you wants them all to be in the Travers, but maybe it's easier for him if a mile's sort of the top for him, and he runs in the 7 furlong and mile races, and Zandon and early voting take care of the rest.
Well, no question, he's going to get at least one test to see if he's Travers worthy.
I would think he'll be in the Haskell. assuming things go well here.
Off the turf, Churchill Downs at a mile, and it's this 14 main track only runner for Brad Cox. Patna, who's the favorite. Let's go to Travis Stone for the call.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Stanley Market. Quick beginning from the far outside. Kiroben Dorada toward the rail. Patna's there with Finney and Freddie. Sequist settles in at the back early on. Stanley Market, though, the clear-cut leader moving up the chute. And now Patna comes on to grab second, and these two go 1-2. Kiroben Dorada to the inside is racing third. Finney and Freddie comes away fourth, and Sequist has been moved to the far outside, fifth and 4 lengths off the lead. So down the backstretch they go. Stanley Market holding on to the lead and opens back up once again. Stanley Market the leader by a length. Patna tracking from second, opening quarter sharp 22-3. Heading for the far turn with Kiroben Dorada third and toward the rail. Finney and Freddie and Sequist. Positions unchanged. Halfway home in 45-1. Stanley Market after that good beginnings to leader. But Patna now is cranking up the pressure. Patna comes on to grab second with 3 furlongs to go. Kiroben Dorada toward the inside racing third. Finney and Freddie and Sequist at the back. Round the far turn, Patna's looking for the lead, and Patna takes over right at the quarter pole. Stanley Market with no response yet. They're off the turn. Patna's in front and opening up now. Patna opening up a length and a half. Stanley Market trying to hold second. Kiroben Dorada's in third. Finney and Freddie and Sequist, 1 furlong to go. Patna's clear by 2.5. Stanley Market is trying hard, but is still second as they come for the wire. And it will be Patna who's under the finish line, the winner by 2.5 in the end. Stanley Market and Finney and Freddie.
Main track only dominates here. Patna into Mischief Philly for Brad Cox. She's now won back-to-back starts.
It's nice to be an MTO at 3-5.
Indeed, in a small, compact field. Grade 1, Woody Stevens, and here's the undefeated Jack Christopher for the loaded barn of talented 3-year-olds on dirt. Chad Brown.
Looking to get his second grade 1 in just 4 career starts, 3 of them graded stakes. He is so much the horse to beat. I'll be interested to see, is the rail necessarily as strong as we thought it was? The track changed, but it may not matter with him.
Papa Cap 14-1. Mark Casse went by.
No match for Jack Christopher off the layoff.
Rematch with Witt and Jack Christopher from the Champagne.
You gotta love Witt's return race. Completely different horse. Broke, was near the pace, incredibly game coming back.
Here's the interesting challenger, Morello, who didn't get a fair shake in that Wood Memorial out of the gate.
I think he's a legitimate challenger to Jack Christopher.
Chasing time, Steve Asmussen, blinkers go on.
I tried him last time, and he probably was hurt a little bit by the bias, but he's now meeting a much tougher field.
And 13-1 Provocateur Todd Pletcher, just missed by a neck in the Gold Fever.
We'll see how aggressive this runner is.
4 minutes to post. Race that kicks off the pick 6 on this Belmont Stakes card. Let's go to Acacia.
And 2 horses in this grade 1 owned by My Racehorse. And I'm very pleased to be joined by Bruce Staminsky, who is represented by Provocateur. Bruce, how exciting is it for you to have a horse in a grade 1 on Belmont Day?
It is an absolute dream come true. I grew up going to Saratoga. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would be a part owner of a racehorse. And here I am, Belmont Stakes Day in a stakes race, an opportunity to win a grade 1 and get a big payoff.
You mentioned the big payoff. My Racehorse giving a $5 million bonus if Provocateur wins today. How incredible is that?
It's unbelievable. Like I said, it's beyond my wildest dreams. I am just looking forward to rooting our boy on. He's been great for the 1.5 years that I've been with him, and I'm looking for a nice long career with him.
Well, we hope that you are enjoying the ride. Best of luck today.
Thank you so much.
So much excitement here in the paddock, and looking forward to Provocateur, all of My Racehorse, cheering him and chasing time on. Lafitte?
They're long shots, Acacia. Fact is, favorites have struggled of recent in the Woody Stevens, defeated in 8 of 9 years, including a colt you may have heard of, Jackie's Warrior, last year at even money. Gary, Jack Christopher, 2-5, and rightfully so. How impressed have you been by him thus far?
Super impressed, and I think he's going to break that trend of long shots winning or losing over that period of time. He looks great out there on the racetrack right now. He's just so professional. ran huge in the Pat Day Mile. He figures to take a step forward, another step forward here today with that race under his belt.
Papa Cap directly to his outside, made the lead in the Pat Day Mile. Side by side, Jack Christopher, Papa Cap. What potential pitfalls does Jose Ortiz have to avoid from that inside post with Jack Christopher?
You know, there's a change in that Jack Christopher was drawn outside of Papa Cap in the Pat Day Mile. So the table's turned here. If Papa Cap is faster than him leaving there, then I think we'll see Jose probably use Jack Christopher a little more than he normally would, unless Papa Cap is able to clear, which is quite possible, and then he will jump hills, get to the outside, and track Papa Cap.
Number 4, Morello, who Andy Serling believes does have a realistic shot at upsetting Jack Christopher. His Gotham was legit, Gary. His last race at 1 turn for Joel Rosario. If Morello is going to be successful strategically, what needs to happen?
Yeah, well, the Wood Memorial is a throwout race. He hit the side of the gate, rough trip, and probably too far for him anyway. He's back to the 1-turn mile. You know, and he's got a great post position. He can stalk both Papa Cap and Jack Christopher and just see if he's good enough when he turns into the lane.
Currently 9-2. Greg, Jack Christopher 2-5, looking to remain undefeated.
He's been brilliant in all 3 starts, but again, this is a serious challenger that he has to face in Morello, who start to start. We were talking to him a lot as he was going through those early stages of the Triple Crown, how much better he was each time out.
Every race was like 5 lengths better than the one before it, and his Gotham win was just push button. I think Jose Lezcano asked him to run for about a second, and he just completely blew by the eventual second-place finisher, Dean's List, who's a very talented sprinter for Todd Pletcher, and won that race as easy as could be with a 96 buyer. Lots of things went wrong in the Wood Memorial. I love that they regrouped. No derby, no foolish spots. Do the right thing by your horse, he'll do the right thing by you.
Let's go to Maggie for more.
We'll take a look here at number 3, Wit, held on the racetrack as he is coming in off of a win in the Grade 3 Bayshore. He, to me, I wrote in my notes, 90% fit, but still was able to get the job done in what looked like a confident Jose Ortiz that day. But he looks even more tucked up. He looks stronger. His coat is resplendent out here. He's moving beautifully. I like Wit. I like everything I've seen from him today because I think he's moved forward off of that 3-year-old return. Checking in with number 1, Jack Christopher, your heavy favorite in here. I'll be honest, I was a little 50-50 back in the paddock because he just wasn't showing me much energy, as we do see him constantly moving out here with Jose Ortiz. That's kind of what he likes to do, honestly, Jose, in his warm-ups. But he did lack some energy back in the paddock. But with this warm-up, I've seen what I wanted to see in a positive way. From 2 to 3, he's gotten a bit more streamlined. He's a bit more defined. He always kind of had that very round, softer appearance. And I think that this 7-furlong 1-turn mile is really what this horse wants to do. We'll see if he can live up and back up the billing that he has in this Woody Stevens, guys.
That's what awaits the winner. A blanket for the Woody Stevens winner. And Jack Christopher, part of that trio of incredibly talented 3-year-olds, including the Preakness winner early voting, Zandon, 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, that potentially we could see all 3 of them this summer in the Travers.
No, you really could. It is really an incredible threesome right now. Now listen, horses go bad overnight. They don't reproduce efforts. Cloud Computing exiting the Preakness looked like he could be a star of the division. Came to Jim Danny's a favorite, and he bombed. He bombed the Travers. He never really ran that well again. So, you know, you want them to do well, but first of all, it's always, the more you have, the better. But things can change in a hurry, and other horses could step forward. And Epicenter is still out there. And I think when Epicenter comes back, he's going to have a little more speed than we saw in his last start.
No question. I think we'll see that from him. Steve Asmussen was not happy with where he was in the race the last time we saw him on the racetrack in the Preakness. There's Papa Cap stepping in. Morello, 4-1 on the board. Meanwhile, Jack Christopher, 2-5. I had asked you off air, about the disparity between these two price-wise? What do you think?
I think they should be about 3-5 and 5-2 or 3-1. Jack Christopher's way the horse to beat, but I think you and I think Morello may be a little bit more likely to win than his 4-1 odds.
There he is, stepping in. Grade 3 Gotham winner, his shining moment. His first race back since things went bad in the Wood Memorial. Grade 1, Woody Stevens and the undefeated Jack Christopher from the rail. Let's go to John Imbrial for the call.
They are in the gate. And they're off. And it was a good start for Jack Christopher from that inside post position, and he is going out for the lead, but he is challenged on the outside by Provocateur. Provocateur, the long shot, takes over the lead from Jack Christopher, the big favorite. Papa Cap is down at the rail running in third, and on the outside is Chasing Time next in fourth. Then Morello in fifth, and Wit will be the early trailer in sixth. It is Provocateur by 3/4 of a length. Jack Christopher on the outside in second, the opening quarter 22 and 3/5 seconds. Papa Cap is down at the rail and running in third. Then Chasing Time, Morello, and Wit at the back of the pack, with Wit now moving up on the outside. Provocateur by a half length. Jack Christopher runs in second. On the far outside is Wit. In between horses, Chasing Time. Papa Cap is down at the rail. Morello is last. The half mile in 45 and 1/5 seconds. Jose Ortiz took a peek back on Jack Christopher, who has now taken over the lead. Jack Christopher willingly opening up here on the field. Jack Christopher passes the 8th pole, and he is pouring it on here. He is going to stay undefeated. Oh, Woody himself would appreciate this effort. It is Jack Christopher winning the Grade 1 Woody Stevens Stakes in 1 minute, 21 seconds.
Jack Christopher, he adds a second Grade 1. This might be Chad Brown's best 3-year-old.
This might be the best 3-year-old in the country. How far he wants to go remains to be seen. Though the way he was running there, it didn't seem to be a problem. I mean, this was ridiculous. These aren't bad horses he was running against, and he made them look like bad horses. He has that ability to rate. And I understand why they sent Provocateur. They were trying a bit of a pace setter, but also give him his best shot and try to see if Jack Christopher can mix it up. The problem is Jack Christopher has no problem sort of letting him go and rate. And where the track has changed, or it doesn't really matter, oh my gosh. This was something. This horse is good.
Incredibly dominant. Gary Stevens, your thoughts?
This was an incredible performance. I don't care how far he wants to run. I bet we'll see him a year from today running in the mile, which looks to be a great race later on in the card, guys.
This was sensational. Let's go to Maggie.
Here with Jose Ortiz, winning rider aboard Jack Christopher. And Jose, you didn't have the lead this time, though he showed the ability to rate in his 3-year-old comeback. He exploded, Jose. This might have been the most devastating performance we've seen yet on this card.
Yeah, he's a very nice horse. I mean, he's 4 and he got speed, he got stamina, he got it all. He's very special.
You mentioned stamina. This is 7 furlongs. He wanted a mile. I know Chad has expressed the sentiment that he wants to go further. Do you feel as his regular rider he can?
He relaxed well. He's a very good horse out of the gate. I feel like he can get position early, relax in the backside, go in 2 turns, and maybe make a run home. I think he deserves a shot, and he's done everything the right way to get a shot. I think if Chad decided and the owners, I'm all in for it.
Jose, well, speaking of 3-year-olds, the Belmont Stakes, we're nearly there. You're going to be aboard the filly, though, in Nest. You've been aboard her in the mornings, too. What is the feeling, and how much confidence does she give you in getting this 1.5 mile distance and taking on the boys?
She's working very good. I think the pedigree says it all. Todd is very confident that she will get the distance. She's been training well, and I think she deserves a shot, and I think we got a good pose, and I mean, we will see later.
You're holding it to the vest. Well, Jose, you pick up your second Grade 1 here on the card. Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Jack Christopher remaining undefeated. We've had a couple quite nice Jacks here on this Belmont Stakes Racing Festival weekend, guys.
Maggie, thank you. I know we're going to see the Belmont Stakes later, that third and final leg of the Triple Crown for 3-year-olds, Andy, but Have you seen a better race by a 3-year-old this year than what we just saw?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I'm trying to figure out Matarea. She ran a mile and she ran about 14 and a half seconds or something slower. They both went about as easily. Let's say you give her 13 seconds for the 8th. That's about, was it 35 flat maybe?
35.77.
77, okay, so there you go. So we're talking about 9 lengths, 9, 10 lengths better. So if she ran a figure of 90, this could be 110, a buyer figure, 108.
Huge. Quick look at those odds for the Belmont Stakes, the ABR Race of the Week, Kentucky Derby winner. Looking for a repeat performance of the Derby. We're back on FS2 7:15 tonight. Be sure to tune in then. We the people going to try and take them gate to wire in the Philly Nest. We'll try and do it again for Todd Pletcher like Rags to Riches did 15 years ago. The August Belmont Trophy awaits.